Well, greetings and salutations, everybody. Welcome to the best damn movie-related show on the planet Earth, the John Campea Show, coming from right here on my YouTube channel. I am, of course, your host, John Campea, and it is an awesome honor and privilege, as it is every day, to have you, our international friends, gather around as we talk about our favorite things in the world: movies, movie news, TV, streaming, the Cincinnati Bengals, all sorts of good stuff. And we are so glad you guys are joining us here on this Monday, the beginning of a brand new week, a week filled with triumph and victory that lays ahead. And we hope all of that for you, the ones you love, and all other things considered. I am, of course, very happy that you guys have decided to spend part of your day here joining us. And not only is it me, we're joined by the one and the only Mr. Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, how you doing today, sir?
John, I'm not known as a sports guy, but I will say this. I love excellence in entertainment. And my God, have we got some great entertainment with the last 2 weekends of football. Amazing.
Some of the best football I've ever seen in my life.
It's just unbelievable. Millions and millions of people are tuning in. If you are entertained, as Maximus said, it's always a good thing.
It's always a good thing. And by the way, it's you were just happy that the San Francisco 49ers lost.
Well, there is that.
I mean, I wonder if you'd have a different opinion of the 49ers.
I'm not going to lie, John. That was a glorious, glorious victory pulled off by our local boys here.
And speaking of local boys, sitting over here, a man who, I kid you not, was in tears.
Yep.
Literal. I'm not joking.
Before they even won.
Before the final seconds counted down with his Cincinnati Bengals that Ray has followed and loved his whole life, watching them lose year after year, like me watching the Toronto Maple Leafs, and to watch him watching his Cincinnati Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Unbelievable comeback. Man. It was an incredible thing. Ray Orr is here, ladies and gentlemen.
Hey, what's up? I mean, I was telling Rob this. I'm not blessed with much, but someone blessed me with January 30, 2022. The Halo trailer.
Yeah, you got.
I got the Halo trailer, and we won an AFC championship. So, as far as I'm concerned, life is complete. It doesn't matter. It doesn't matter if they win the Super Bowl or not, because Ant's team's on the other side. So I'm gonna take this. I'm gonna take yesterday, and I'm living it, baby.
I just want to know, are we going to have to do something like, should we call perhaps an EMT in case Cincinnati wins?
Does win the Super Bowl?
If they win the
Are we
Super
going to need
Bowl,
a doctor on hand for you?
Do we need to do that?
You know what? As far as I'm concerned, I never thought I would live to see the day that they would win the AFC, to be honest. Like I said, I'm probably going to die and not see anything happen with this team. So yesterday was the biggest sports moment in my life.
And now, by the way, I should also mention, Chris Carr is not here today. Chris and her husband Logan have been moving, and today's their final day of just kind of getting everything settled away and putting that. So Chris isn't here today. She'll be back again tomorrow. Keep your guys open for that. And guys, it's good to have you here. Here's how today's show is going to go. We're going to break the show up into two parts. The first half of the show, we're going to take some predetermined topics that we've got lined up. Then the second half of the show, we're going to take your live comments and questions. How do you get a live comment or question in on the show? It's easy. You got to be watching live. And if you're watching live, you can just go and use the super chat feature over there in the live chat. Now, I announced this last week. We're starting something new. For you guys who do not watch the show live, any of the other 22 hours during the day, but you still want to send in a question or a comment to be read, we're starting a new show today called Mailbag. That's John Campea Mailbag. You guys know I've been doing mailbags ever since back in the AMC days. And so from now on, if you've got a question or comment you want read, but you can't be here to watch the show live to send a comment or question, we're going to be having a dedicated show done 2 to 3 times a week called Mailbag. If you'd like to send in a question for a mailbag show, go ahead down into the description of this video. You'll see a tip link, www.streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip, where you can enter it in manually there. Send it on in, and you're going to see your question or comment read on a mailbag show if we deem your comment or question appropriate to be used on our shows. And of course, you'll be supporting our channel at the same time, and all of us involved with the John Campea Show, thank you guys very much for your support. Okay, guys. With that down, let's get into a couple of off the tops here, shall we? With an all guys day. It's guys day.
Sausage fest.
Oh, man, it stinks in here, buddy.
It smells like nerd and virginity.
And pork.
And pork.
Smells like pork in here.
All right, here's what we're going to do, guys. I don't know if you guys knew this. There's a movie that's pretty big. It's called Spider-Man No Way Home.
Really?
It's done pretty well. It's done all right. We're going to talk about just how well it's done in just a little while. But, you know, the movie's been out for over a month now. So it's time to start looking forward. Even still number one at the box office. Again, we're going to talk about that in a bit. But it's been out for over a month, so it's time for everybody to start thinking about the home video release and all that kind of stuff. Now, Rob, we say all the time that, you know, physical media, it's in its last days. It's in its waning dinosaur
Well, last
days.
years.
Yes. It's in the
Maybe
twilight.
last decade.
You know, in the terms of Brother Dawn, Brother Day, and Brother Dusk, physical media is Brother Dusk. It's just been kind of on its way out, but it's still here.
Yeah, for a while.
One of the best things about even though I'm not a physical media guy, my number one favorite thing about physical media is bonus features. Now, they're slowly, finally starting to move bonus features onto streaming as well, which is nice. But I mean, when you think bonus features, you're primarily thinking about the Blu-rays and stuff like that. Well, if you are a Spider-Man No Way Home fan, there is good news. If you're like me and like bonus features, because apparently there's reports coming out now that Spider-Man No Way Home is going to be completely blacked out. No, Spider-Man No Way Home, there we go. Spider-Man No Way Home is said to have almost 2 hours, over 100 minutes of bonus features added onto its disc.
It's about time.
Now, this is great because I have bought many a disc in my life, excited about bonus features, to see there's a 5-minute this and a 7-minute that, and that's the bonus features. This actually 100 minutes. Now, it's not the Lord of the Rings bonus features.
Nope.
And it's not Star Wars, The Phantom Menace, you know, bonus features. But still, this is a nice amount of bonus features. I mean, I really do hope one of the main things we're going to see on this is some kind of little 15-minute vignette about bringing the 3 Spider-Men together. I mean, if you just have like a little 15-minute mini documentary just about that, dude, it's been years since I bought a physical disc. I may go out and buy that disc. You put that on the disc, I probably go out and buy that disc. I mean, again, as a visual effects guy, I'd be fascinated to see some in-depth stuff about how they pulled together the visual effects, how they did all that kind of stuff. All that sounds good to me. But at that, now, I wanted to ask you, Rob, because, you know, not only are you somebody who appreciates physical media and you appreciate bonus features, you are literally a producer of bonus feature content.
Indeed.
You've done some of the biggest films in the world producing bonus feature content. You've got a damn Saturn Award on your mantle for that kind of stuff. So you hear about this, good news, bad news, and what kind of stuff do you think we can look forward to seeing on a Spider-Man No Way Home bonus features?
Well, I think, John, you know, one of the great disappointments for me, I love the MCU. I have been very disappointed at the special features on the Marvel discs because I think, like the movies themselves that tell this big interconnected story, they could have done the same thing with their bonus features. The same way that the team I work with on Lord of the Rings did that with the extended edition supplements. What I want to know is, I want to know, first of all, where did the idea of putting together all these villains from different timelines and the Spider-Men, where did that come from? You know, and once they came up with the idea, how did they set off on that path? What was it like for Kevin Feige and Amy Pascal to reach out to Andrew Garfield and reach out to Tobey Maguire? I mean, how did that happen? And then once it happened, you know, what were the decisions that then led into the rest of the movie? I mean, there are great stories to tell there. And when I've worked on, I did a 3-hour documentary on the making of Superman Returns. And the genesis of that project was a big part of the story. And I think that people want to know these things. And like you said, the visual effects in this film were enormous. You know, and I would love to see a bonus piece about how Marvel has to lie to the fandom in trailers. Like, what happens when they've got a finished effect shot and they're like, well, we need to take Spider-Man out of this shot so people don't know. And there's so much interesting things they could cover. But to know that there's this much bonus features on this particular movie, I'm excited, John. I'm excited.
What I really want to see is director's commentary as well. I mean, that to this day remains, of all the more than blooper reels or outtakes or deleted scenes, or I can give her, I mean, I enjoy watching those, but honestly, I can give and take all of those. The main things to me are that the actual things talking about the making of the film, like how did the 3 Spider-Men come together? How did they put together visual effects? But director's commentary for me has always been like the first thing I always look for.
Oh, I agree.
First thing I always go to. Hearing what was going on, hearing the director, and maybe sometimes they have a writer with them as well or whatever. talking about and going through the process of what they saw and how they pulled it together, what went into the thinking in this scene. I hope they have some John Watts doing that.
I hope so too. I mean, some of the director's commentaries, Kurt Russell and John Carpenter on Escape from New York. You can hear him cracking beers, talking about the movie. Arnold Schwarzenegger on Conan the Barbarian with John Milius. I mean, these are essential. I love when David Fincher's commentaries. Amazing. I would love to have a John Watts commentary, especially because for him, this is his third Spider-Man movie.
Yep.
So
and probably his last.
Right. Hopefully he'll move over to Fantastic Four.
Yeah, remember,
Wink, wink,
everybody
nudge,
remember,
nudge.
he's now John Watts. A lot of people forget it's official. He's moving over to do Fantastic Four. So this very well could have been his last Spider-Man movie.
Yeah.
But you know who's been an auxiliary member of the Fantastic Four before? Spider-Man.
Yeah. Yes, he has.
Spider-Man has been a bench player for the Fantastic. So I don't know. Maybe John Watts brings Spider-Man into Fantastic Four. Who knows?
Could be.
The best bonus features for Marvel and Disney Marvel and DC for me have been the first Iron Man. I think that's the way you do special features.
There was good
There was really good stuff on that.
They went into the before even the movie took place, like Jon Favreau working himself up to start doing the movie, to drawing the suit, to making the suit, to filming, all the way up to even the premiere of the movie. And I was like, they were broken up in sections.
Yeah.
And I was like, this is the perfect template of how you please a Ray Aura. You know what I mean? And the other one was crazy.
By the way, you need to put that on your dating profile too.
The other one,
please, Ray Aura.
The other one was Batman Begins, because what's funny about that disc is you had to find the special features. You had to click right 2 times, and then all of a sudden the Batmobile would glow, and you clicked on it.
Yeah, that used to
For
drive me
years,
crazy.
I didn't know about this. I had the Batman Begins DVD, and I watched all of it, and that was cool too. So you know what? I'm all ready for bonus features. That's the only reason why I buy Blu-rays now, is for that. So let's do it. Let's put in more stuff in there.
I agree. Actually, my favorite filmmaker of all time, Steven Spielberg. It frustrates the hell out of me that he is so against bonus feature stuff and he doesn't do director's commentaries. And it's like, come on, Steven, what are you doing? Anyway, guys, question is for you. What do you think about this? The fact that it's going to be over 100 minutes of bonus features. Hopefully that doesn't include, director's commentary. That's something else entirely. What are you hoping to see on? What kind of features do you want to see there? Is this enough to get you to go out and buy a disc if you're not really a disc buyer? What do you guys think? Jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's do one more off the top. And that one more off the top is this. And really, this is just a side note. A lot of noise got made when Critical Role did their crowdfunding raising to try to get their own animated thing going.
Yeah.
And they raised millions and millions and millions and millions of dollars.
And God bless them.
And they broke a bunch of records for that genre of fundraising and stuff like that, all that kind of stuff. And then along comes The Legend of Vox Machina, which is now on Amazon. It debuted. Now, they put out a trailer for it a while ago, a couple of trailers. I didn't like them. I like the Critical Role people, but I watched trailers like, nah. This, frankly, looks kind of cheap. Doesn't look very funny. And whatever. So this weekend, in between football games and after football games, Ann and I decided to sit down and watch, because they put the first 3 out. So this past week, the first 3 episodes of Vox Machina came out. We sat down and watched it, and I'll tell you what, it works.
Yeah, it does.
This is a funny, not only is it a funny show, but it, as a Dungeons and Dragons player and a role player myself, within their storyline are a lot of very classic, role-playing game campaign story hooks and stuff like that. The stuff with the dragon, the various characters and all that kind of stuff. And, I was thinking they're going to make it rated R. They're going to throw in a lot of really vulgar jokes just for the sake of being vulgar. But I'm telling you what, every time they did, I thought they knocked it out of the park. I thought it was funny.
Yep.
Now, is this on the same level as Arcane? No, this is not on the same level as Arcane. Is this on the same quality level as, maybe some of those other things? No, probably not. But considering I wasn't expecting anything out of this, and for me, the 3 episodes flew by. And by the time that the little kind of a cliffhanger at the end of the 3rd episode, I'm like, all right, I'm ready for more. Sign me up. And this is another example of a real pleasant surprise for me of a movie or a show that I didn't think looked very good and got to be really pleasantly surprised by it, I think this is where. Now, you started checking this one out yourself, right, Rob? What do you think?
I liked it too. You know, I heard that it was vulgar and violent and funny. And what I also love about this show, and it was, and I liked it. What I really like is that you have creators. People think that just because creators have a certain amount of success or fame behind them, it's sometimes impossible to get your projects funded. And when you turn to crowdfunding, to me, what the Critical Role people did was exactly what crowdfunding is all about. They're going directly to their viewers, directly to their fans. They're paying for a project, they execute on the project, and it gets made. And when you hear that kind of thing happening, I love that it is as successful as it is, because I think that's a great way to do business. And I think, you know, there's so many gatekeepers out there when you're trying to get projects made that will tell you no, that it's nice to see them execute on what they wanted to do and have it be good.
Yeah, and again, for me, it's just that little thing. There's very few things I like more as a fan than to be pleasantly surprised by something.
Yep, absolutely.
And this came out of nowhere, kind of out of left field for me. I wasn't expecting much out of it, and it really hits it. Again, I'm not a big fan of the animation style. I don't think the animation looks top shelf. You know what I mean?
Right.
Which is fine.
But you get what you pay for. I mean, animation's expensive and time consuming.
You get what you pay for. And on top of that, look, ultimately it's about the story and the characters and the dialogue and all that kind of stuff. Don't get me wrong, it's better animation than I could ever do in my life. But I mean, it's just not top shelf, but that's okay. This is a show that works. So guys, listen, if you haven't checked out, you don't have to be a Dungeons and Dragons player. You don't have to be a role player. If you haven't had a chance to check out, it's on Amazon, by the way. If you haven't had a chance to check out this Legend of Vox Machina, I do recommend giving it a shot. And it's like they're fairly short episodes, like they're not 50 minutes long or anything like that. So go check out a couple of episodes. It's not going to take a lot of your time. And if it works for you, awesome. If it doesn't, no big deal. But I would say check it out if you get a chance. And for me, it's a thumbs up. I mean, again, not on the same level as Arcane or anything like that, but this is a fun little show that I actually quite enjoy, and I can't wait for the next episode. Anyway, guys, what about you? Have you had a chance to see The Legend of Vox Machina on Amazon? If so, what did you think? Did you like it like me? Maybe it didn't work for you. Maybe you thought it was the greatest thing ever. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. Okay, guys. With that down, let's now move on to our main topics here today, shall we? And how do we select our main topics here on the John Campea Show? Well, it's really rather simple. You see, you guys come up with our main topics. Whenever you come across a big topic, issue, or story that you guys feel we need to cover as a main topic here on the show, just go anytime 24/7 over to www.thejohncampeashow.com/contact. Once you guys get there, you're going to see a form. Fill it out with your topic or question. It's absolutely free. Hit submit, and then maybe, just maybe, you might see your submission featured as a main topic here on the John Campea Show. With that down, let's get into main topic number 1. And our first main topic today gets submitted to us by Alan Renshaw, who writes, I just saw the Halo trailer, and this series looks amazing. It looks like a great piece of high concept sci-fi, and they gave it a proper budget. What are your thoughts on the trailer? All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And yes, listen, sitting down trying to watch the Kansas City Chiefs versus Cincinnati Bengals game, and all Ray's like, when's the Halo trailer? Halftime, Ray. What minute in halftime? Not sure, Ray. We're gonna get there. And Ray was very excited. This is how excited Ray was for this thing. I mean, he was talking as much about this Halo trailer as he was about the game itself.
No, I wasn't talking much about the game at that moment. I thought we were getting run over.
Oh, yeah, that's right, because it was 21-3.
I had to put all that energy into this trailer because it couldn't go anywhere else. I had nothing to say about the game.
You had to have something to look forward to because you weren't enjoying the game at the time. But I'll tell you what, they put out the first, what was it, during the Video Game Awards? Is that what the first,
it was like a 10
teaser.
seconds of a waste of time of the whole 3 hours I waited for.
So they put out that Halo spot, and I'm going to tell you what, it looked cheap. I wasn't all that impressed with it.
Right.
I thought it looked like it was a CW. It looked like a CW show. It looked like small budget, shot on a CW set. I'm like, nah. The new trailer came out yesterday. I'll tell you what. I liked what I saw. I did. I liked what I saw. Anyway, this comes just from the folks over at IGN and write the following. In the trailer, which you can see below, we're not on the website, obviously, we catch a glimpse of not only Pablo Schreiber's Master Chief, but also our best look yet at the show's version of Jen Taylor's Cortana. Additionally, we see many of the Covenant enemies Chief and friends will be facing off against, including the Elites, Brutes, Jackals, and more. And hell no, I'm not even going to bother trying to pronounce the names of them in the game there. So the trailer came out. Now look, one bit of criticism about the trailer. Still have no idea what this is about. I have no idea what's like. It's really just a bunch of random shots of, ooh, Master Chief, ooh, running with guns, ooh, and that's fine. It's really the first legitimate trailer, and I think that's okay. But I'm still, as a viewer, I don't really know. I've been reading a lot of fans online talking about how, is this an amalgamation of the different storylines in the game? This is kind of taking liberties with some things, blah, blah. So even the hardcore fans aren't really sure, okay, what's our main narrative going to be? But other than that little teaser during the Video Game Awards, this is really the first trailer. And that's okay. And we got our release dates coming in March, which is great. Now, that aside, it looked like the production value looks much better than it did in that first teaser. I thought the action looked pretty good. The creatures looked pretty damn good.
Yeah.
Oh, yeah.
Seeing the warthog and all that kind of stuff. And I got to tell you, the first little thing, I'm like, yeah, this trailer, I'm like, I'm looking forward to seeing this show.
I am making a bed in your guest room because I don't have Paramount.
There is a
but
bed
you
in my
do,
guest room.
But you do.
Yes, I do.
And I will be here no matter what day it is. I'm watching this. Really, Halo's, if there's so much books and things like that, I don't get into it. I just know the gist of the game. It's Master Chief trying to save humanity from these alien, this group of mixed alien races that have a religious, cause behind them wanting to get rid of humanity. And Master Chief is pretty much the only thing that could stand up to these guys with his armor, with the Spartan training, whatever. And there's also drama with that because they stole kids when they were young to create these super soldiers. So there's a little dilemma within the soldiers themselves. Was this right? Should they have done this to us? But at the same time, they're protecting.
They're trying to save the world.
What's left of humanity against these creatures that believe that they're right. So it's that's basically what it is. Depending on how far they go into the books, I don't know. I only understand enough for me to like keep watching things or keep playing things. I don't get into deep with those things. So
well, all that really matters right now, though, the only thing that matters right now is, what do you think of the trailer? Did you like it?
It's great. Like it gives me high hopes for hopefully the Godzilla series. Like we'll start seeing them not skimp out on. If you're gonna get a big property like Halo, Godzilla, I expect money to be thrown in there. Right. Just because, if this is your tentpole series for your streaming platform, which Paramount doesn't really have anything right now. As they're like, we have.
Yeah, Paramount has nothing.
Halo.
They have nothing.
Yeah.
They have nothing that's worth watching.
I'm
kidding.
As in TV series. What do they have?
Oh, me too.
Oh, they have Yellowstone. I'm sorry, John. Okay.
Well, but that's not even Paramount Plus. But they have Yellowstone. They have 1883. They have all the South Park
There's
stuff.
this old venerable franchise that's been around for 56
they have
years.
Star Trek
Oh, my God. I'm sorry. I'm sorry. Maybe it's just because it's been nothing.
No, they should be sorry for the Star Trek of the last 4 years.
Trek stuff has
could be
been
home
great.
to both. We could be friends.
Dude, Halo is going to smoke Star Trek. Paramount Plus is going to look at Halo and go, oh, here's where we should be putting our money. And I mean, look, I agree with you. I like this trailer, John. I thought, Halo has always struck me as, I remember playing the first Halo. And to me, it's an amalgamation of various, whether it's Ender's Game, whether it's Starship Troopers. I liked it. I mean, the sci-fi world that they build out, it's very familiar in terms of anyone who's read a lot of literary sci-fi. But it was a great game. It was a great game. And this trailer, it looks really good. Like you said, after seeing things like Foundation on Apple, which they spent a lot of money, you can't do sci-fi like this and skimp. And like you said, this looks really good. I mean, the creature design is very cool. The character design's right out of the game. I mean, Master Chief looks just like Master Chief. Now I want to see a Metroid series done just like.
Oh, yeah.
Wouldn't that be great? But it looks great.
I got a
I'm
question
in.
though. I got a question. It's kind of a two-parter. And really, you guys got to understand how big of an Xbox guy Ray is. Like I've explained this before, but Ray literally comes over to my house with this jerry-rigged, it's a little Xbox that he has put a monitor on, and it's like a laptop. So it's an Xbox that likes a laptop. He can open up the monitor, so he can take this. He brings it over to my house and sits there and plays Xbox.
You know when
on
I
my dining
busted
room
it
table.
out is when it was 21-3. I said, I took that thing out of the bag and I said, it looks like it's gonna be a long day, boys.
Wait, is this an Xbox One?
It's the newer one, but the smaller one, the Series S.
Oh, okay.
It's
Yeah,
so
he literally
small.
he's got a monitor attached to it that he can flip up and play wherever he goes. But here's the question. All right. Two-parter. Number one, are we going to see Master Chief take his helmet off? Number two, if he does, are people going to be upset by that? Because there's two different ways of looking at this. Because if you go back to Judge Dredd with Carl Urban, right? Kept the mask on. Now, granted, you could still see part of his face, but he kept the mask on the entire movie. Then we've seen other things. We've been seeing a lot of, Boba Fett without the helmet on and whatever and all that kind of stuff. But do you think we're going to see him take his helmet off? And if so, is that okay with you? Nobody?
No, I'll say this right now. They're gonna show either part or all of his face right in the beginning.
Think
right
so?
in the beginning. I think so. Just so people can know that he's human.
Yeah, I mean,
You know,
I think you're right about that.
Yeah, like right at the beginning, you know how they have that shot with him on that table with the scars on his back?
Yep.
I think we see it right in the beginning, just so we can put a face to the mask. You know what I mean? Like
I agree with that.
but more importantly, what does Superman think?
Yeah, what does Superman think? Actually, you know what, guys? I'm putting up in the live chat right now, I'm putting up a poll. So I want to ask you guys in there, the poll is up there right now. Should we see Master Chief without the helmet on?
And what was the second part of that?
Well, I mean, the first part of the question was, will we see him without the helmet on? Second part is, how do you think people will respond to it if they do? So what do you think people are going to be okay with it if he takes his helmet off, Rob?
Yeah, because somebody's got to play him. At some point you do want to have a connection to the character. It's just like, you can't. It's Spider-Man is a better character if you know that the Peter Parker that's under the mask. I think that's always true. I mean, Master Chief, unless there's some kind of religious significance, like the Mandalorians are like, you can't. No, I think that there's no problem with.
Plus, it also shows vulnerability in the character. Like, even though he has all this armor, he's taking orders. He's still a human. I don't know.
Here's funny. I'll be straight up. I expected this poll to be like, should we see Master Chief without the helmet? I expected it to be like 80 to 90% no, but it's pretty split right now. 52% say no, 48% say yes.
But if you ask me, I would prefer to keep the helmet on. I like robots. I like to think he's a robot.
You like to think of him as a droid of some
I
kind?
like to think of him as a robot, because then...
Isn't it better to think of him as a man, though?
But then you start nitpicking, like, oh, man, he doesn't look right. That's not how the Master Chief I thought he would look like.
That's true.
That's the
Because
problem.
people make it up in their
We've been
heads.
playing this game for how many? 6 games? Without really seeing his face?
It's been, what, 20 years?
Yeah. So it's like, I mean, they showed his face in some of the releases of whatever, and it's been fine. But what if this actor's like, that's not my Master Chief?
And everybody's head is going to be different. When Master Chief looks like is going to be different in everybody's head. Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What did you think about this trailer for Halo? I was actually pretty impressed by it. I'm looking forward to seeing the show. Do you think it's going to be good? Do you have high hopes? Do you have no hopes? Whatever you guys are thinking, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 2. And our second main topic today gets submitted to us by Eric Huffman. And Eric Huffman writes, "Hey, John and crew. I just saw that Spider-Man No Way Home has won the weekend box office again and has now passed $1.7 billion worldwide. Does the success of this film, as well as that of F9 and Venom 2, prove that studios should never entertain any day-and-date release for tentpole films? Thanks, and stay sweaty, my friends." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, man. And ho-hum, another day, another set of milestones that Spider-Man No Way Home has passed. Number 1, it is again number 1 at the box office. Not that it had much competition this weekend. It won't be number 1 next weekend. That's a foregone conclusion. But It was number one at the box office this weekend. Again, I think it made like 11 or 12 million bucks to be number one again for its 6 week.
You
not
say
6
that
weeks
like
in a
it's
row.
a paltry sum.
Oh no,
A paltry
but
sum.
for a number one film at the box office, it's
Right.
not the biggest, right? But on top of all that, it has crossed the 1 billion mark worldwide, making it only the 10th film in cinematic history.
You mean foreign, not worldwide, and foreign.
Sorry, thank you. Internationally. That's
International.
correct. So there's domestic, there's internationally, combined, that's worldwide. It has crossed the $1 billion mark internationally,
Yes.
which makes it only the 10th film in cinematic history to do. That's impressive. It is also inching ever closer to the Avatar domestic number, which it very well could cross within the next 10 days or so. Now, look, Spider-Man No Way Home has absolutely done better than I thought it would. I mean, it's done better than I think most people thought it would do, except for those crazy people who thought it was going to hit $3 billion or whatever. But I mean, look, we knew it was going to be big. We knew it was going to be huge. But every week, it's like we're talking about a new milestone that it gets to set and cross. Now, again, it's never going to catch the domestic record of Star Wars, The Force Awakens, which is like $900+ million. It's not going to do that. It's not going to catch Endgame or Infinity War or whatever for worldwide. But again, more and more numbers that it hits, and the longevity of it is crazy because we are now sitting. This movie's been out for over a month. All right. This movie has actually been out for about 6 weeks. And it's still pulling in like $11-12 million a weekend at the box office and still number one. I think we now need to start changing and rephrasing the questions about, we ask, what is it about Spider-Man that has made it be so successful? I think now we got to rephrase the question a little bit of what is it about Spider-Man No Way Home that is giving it the longevity that it has? Because people continue, listen, we live in a movie-going era now, and we have for the last 3 or 4 years, where people see the movies in the first week and generally don't go watch it again, maybe 1 or 2 times more. People are going back for their 5th, 6th, 7th time of going to the movies. And so we ask the question, what is it that has been so endearing about it that has given it this kind of legs and this kind of longevity? It's not just quality. We've seen higher quality movies not have as good legs. There's an element to this. To me, I think it's all about the 3 Spider-Men. I think it's just that story again, that the idea of 3 generations of movie fans with 3 generations of Spider-Men. And there's a nostalgia kick to that. That might be bringing people back more and more. Rob, let me ask you this question. You see this, like it's number one at the box office again, not a ton of competition, but still making the money that it is. What is it about this film that is giving it specifically the legs and having people going back to it again and again?
Well, I think, you're partially right in that, yeah, the Spider-Man coming together, the villains coming together, all of that absolutely plays into this. But that might not have worked. I think the real reason this movie has succeeded is it's because it evokes an emotional response in the audience on multiple occasions. If you love the MCU, this film, it's not just when you see Charlie Cox as Matt Murdock show up, you get a kick there if you're a fan of this universe. This movie has tragedy in it. It has comedy in it. It has nostalgia in it. It has a cool factor in it and a whoa, I can't believe they did that. This film takes you on an emotional journey that you feel. And I think the reason we go to movies is we hope that we have a feeling, an emotional response. I mean, we're so used to watching this stuff, and it's fine, we like it, but we don't feel it like we want to. And I remember, when we were growing up in the 80s, man, and you were seeing all the, whether it was Back to the Future or whether it was Empire Strikes Back or pick your movie, you felt these movies and you left the theater on a high, elated, like, my God, this really transported me and took me to a place I didn't expect to go to, or the first time you saw the brachiosaur eat the leaves in Jurassic Park. And this movie provides what we always hope to get, a genuine emotional response. And this movie gives it to you multiple times throughout. And not a lot of movies can do that.
Well, I've said forever, what are movies? Movies are experiential events. And it's all types of experiences, whether it's fear or thrills or laughter or excitement or nostalgia or regret or dreaming or whatever. And the movies that do the best are the ones that deliver the experience that they're promising.
Yep.
Spider-Man No Way Home delivers an experience. You walk out of that theater
Throughout. Not just like
throughout the film.
It doesn't just give you a climax, it gives you these jolts throughout the whole movie that you're not expecting.
And it's done something else too, because I think it would be neat to go over and take a look at this for a second. When you look at the weekend box office this weekend, obviously right up there at the top is Spider-Man No Way Home, made $11 million. But Spider-Man No Way Home, we talked about this before. It was not just a big movie and not just a great movie and all that kind of stuff. It's the movie that for a lot of people represented their first movie going back to the movie theater since the pandemic started. A lot of people, it was their first time back. And when you look at a couple of these other movies, Scream, franchise I don't even like that much, made for like $20 million. It is sitting right now at like over $106 million worldwide. $106 million worldwide for that little film. Sing 2, $267 million worldwide. Now, are we right back to the pre-pandemic era of box office? No, we're not there yet. But these are the types of numbers that I think partially you owe to Spider-Man No Way Home being that movie that brought a lot of people out things. So there's a significance to this movie as well.
I gotta say, like, even right now, I've only watched it once. When we left Scream, when we left Moonfall, the first thing I said is, man, I still want to watch No Way Home one more time in the theater.
Right.
It's just one of those movies, like Rob was saying, I completely agree. I leave just happy. It's like all the Spider-Man movies. It's all like the culmination, you know, it's like the thing where all three of them come together. I never thought I would see the day. And also, like, I go to the movies to be entertained. Me, I like watching happy, feel good, whatever movies. And then, you know, some like good time horror. The thought-provoking, like, you know, sad, emotional, traumatizing movies, I save for the house. I refuse to go to see those in the theater because that's more of like an intimate movie to me, right?
It's a different experience than you like going for.
So in theaters, like Spider-Man is the most perfect movie for me to actually go to theater and see. That's like the type of movie that I want to see.
So let's look at this too. Let's put this into context. We're now looking at the worldwide chart here and the all-time worldwide chart. So again, Spider-Man now is at 1.74, we're rounding it up, at $1.74 billion, which was already in the number 6 spot. But I think it's pretty clear that unless something drastic changes, I don't think we're going to see it make another $300 million to catch Avengers Infinity War. That's in the number 5 spot. Number 4 is Star Wars The Force Awakens. Number 3, Titanic. Number 2, Endgame. Number 1, Avatar. I don't think we're going to see it change in spot again, but again, just wrapping our heads around the idea.
Will James Cameron be preparing to re-release Avatar once again?
Well, it's already in the number 1 spot, so he doesn't have to. We're going to he's focused on Avatar 2 right now.
You know, one of the things I've always thought about movies too is that we now live in this world where people believe that spectacle is important. Well, we have to give you these various action scenes. But I would posit that take your favorite movie, whatever it is. Every scene in your favorite movie is a good scene. And the scenes might be different than one another, but I think about movies like Shawshank Redemption or Jaws or even Back to the Future. Every scene itself is entertaining. Even the opening of Back to the Future, you see all the clocks, and then Marty McFly walks in and plugs his guitar in, and a giant speaker blows him through the back wall of Doc's place. Even that scene alone is fun. And when you watch Back to the Future and your favorite movies, there are collections of scenes that deliver the goods every single 5 minutes or whatever. And we don't get that much anymore. You might watch a movie for 2 hours and you might only really love what's going on for about 10 minutes of it. And even that is okay, I suppose. But when you see a film that delivers through its 2.5 hour running time, that's unique. And that's providing, it's not just a fun experience, but for the entire length of the movie.
And it's not just the action films that do that. I remember a movie like that for me was Colin Firth's King's Speech. Now, you know how much I love this movie, but King's Speech is an example of that, like you were just describing. It is every single freaking scene had me mesmerized.
Yeah.
And action films can do that. Horror films can do that. period drama pieces can do that in their own unique way. But man, when it does that, when a movie comes out that can do that for you, that's a special experience.
You know what? The King's Speech is a great example because most people wouldn't use that, but you're right. That movie is delicious throughout.
Yeah.
Two other examples. People talk about,
Well, Shakespeare in Love should never have been voted Best Picture over Saving
It's
Private
awesome.
Ryan.
That movie's
Shakespeare
awesome.
in Love is an awesomely entertaining film, just like Amadeus is. But Shawshank Redemption, it's about guys in prison.
Oh, well, I mean, that's
but every scene in that movie is just every scene.
Every scene's iconic. You
scene's-
can quote every single scene in that movie.
Yeah, I mean, when Gil Bellows shows up, it suddenly becomes this rock and roll. We loved him immediately, you know, and suddenly that whole movie. And I feel that art is sort of missing from movies now. I don't know why, but, you know.
Anyway, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this? Spider-Man No Way Home continues to set new box office standards. It's now like one of the only 10 films to cross $1 billion internationally. It's hit 1.74. It's been number one for 6 weeks, not in a row, but number one for 6 weeks at the box office. It just continues to do really well. What do you guys attribute to the long legs? We understand the movie's great, but what do you attribute the long legs that it's been having? Maybe it's lack of competition. Maybe it's just that we just yearn to go back and experience it again. Whatever you guys are feeling, jump down into the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that down, let's move on to main topic number 3. And our third main topic today gets submitted to us by Thomas. And Thomas writes, "Hey, everyone. There's a report going around that a sequel to Joker is currently in development. Even though that movie stood great on its own, I think this could be good. Joaquin Phoenix doesn't choose his projects lightly, so there could be something interesting here. What do y'all think? Thanks." All right, thanks a lot for sending that in, Thomas. And yeah, look, Joker is a movie that all of us have been talking a lot about ever since the damn thing came out, even long before it came out. I remember we were at Comic-Con, I believe, when news came out that they were doing this movie. And specifically that it was going to be a standalone film. And I was so psyched. Because I've been begging for years for comic book movies to start putting out standalone, not a part of a shared cinematic universe movies again. Not that I don't like shared cinematic universe, I do, but why does it have to be one or the other? Why can't we have both? The comics do both. The comics have individual isolated stories and their overall story arcs at the same time. Why can't movies? Why does everything have to be connected to everything else? And so when they announced that they were going to be doing a standalone Joker movie, I was psyched. And of course, then came the chorus.
A Joker movie can't work without Batman. No one's going to watch a movie without Batman.
And I love Batman. It's like, yeah, well,
No one's going to care about this movie if it's not connected to the DCEU.
okay, we'll see. Movie came out, made over $1 billion, was awesome, nominated for Best Picture at the Academy Awards, and won Joaquin Phoenix an Academy Award. First comic book movie ever for the lead guy to win Best Actor at the Academy Award. Of course, Heath Ledger won Best Supporting Actor playing the same role years earlier. But this movie is special. And I remember we watched it together.
Yes, we did.
You know, you, me, Aaron wasn't there. No, Aaron wasn't there, but Aaron's
Elizabeth came.
husband was.
Yeah, Aaron's Tom did.
Aaron's husband was there. Elizabeth came. Ann was there. We went to go watch Joker. And I remember when we came out of that theater, we were just like, what did we just watch? Like, that was such an intimate, human, societal level inspection framed in this beautiful veneer that was just, I couldn't stop thinking about the movie for days. And then I watched it again, and then I watched it again. And of course, the performances are absolutely powerful and fantastic and wonderful. And truly, you do get a sense of that isolation. This movie is isolated. This is a one shot. And everybody accepted that and loved it. But then it made $1 billion. And then it got Academy Award nominations and won Academy Awards. And suddenly the conversation changed to what an awesome, magnificent standalone movie to when's the damn sequel coming? And even me, the guy who's like, leave it alone. It was a one-shot story. Don't go anywhere with it. Even I had to say, yeah, I believe that. But if I'm a WB executive, I'm putting the wheels in motion right away for a sequel. Of course you are. And so there's been a lot of talk, a lot of back and forth about all these reports saying, oh, they are going to do it, and then nothing. Oh, no, they're going to do one, and then nothing. and then nothing, and then nothing, and nothing. Well, now there's a report coming out saying that they've already turned in the first draft of the script. Now, it doesn't come from us, from Variety or anything, but a fairly decent site. And the folks over at Heroic Hollywood who wrote the following. According to an insider with knowledge of the Joker sequel, Warner Brothers has officially received the first draft of its script, and the film will begin shooting sometime in 2023. Plot details are being kept in a cell at Arkham Asylum. The Joker hasn't shown up on the big screen since Joaquin Phoenix film, but he has made a number of smaller scale appearances, namely with Jared Leto reprising his role of the Crown Prince of Crime in Zack Snyder's Justice League cut. The character is heavily rumored to make an appearance in Robert Pattinson's The Batman, so it's safe to say that the Joker hype isn't dying down anytime soon. All right, so number one, Joaquin Phoenix's Joker is not showing up in the Robert Pattinson Batman movie. I don't know why anybody believes he would. Is it impossible? No, it's not impossible. But that just doesn't, age-wise, that just doesn't work. That just doesn't, because you got to remember, Bruce Wayne is the little boy.
I mean, you've got Catwoman, Riddler, and Penguin. Of the three of the four, do we need Joker?
No, we don't need Joker.
I mean, maybe, but you know.
And I don't think a lot of people are expecting, if they do a Joker 2, a lot of people are saying, well, now you got to bring in Batman. Batman's going to be 11 years old in whatever this next one is. So no, listen, the first Joker worked beautifully, partially because there was no Batman. We've already got 3 Batmen we're going to see on screen this year. 3, or within the next year or so. We got, obviously, we're going to see Ben's one last time. We're going to see Michael Keaton's, and we're going to see Robert Pattinson. We don't need a 4th. So I don't think that's the case at all, nor do I think a Joker 2 needs a Batman. But that brings up the question. If this report is true, and we don't know that it's true, but if it is true, and that's a big if, what's the story going to be? Because this Joker was very unique. It was very uniquely his own. It was Joaquin Phoenix's own Joker. So what kind of story does he really truly become? A homicidal maniac? Maybe we see him go one step further and one step further and one step. Maybe whereas the first Joker was this kind of descent into madness where he kind of adopts the Joker persona. Maybe the next one is about now going the journey from that to becoming the homicidal maniac that we all know and love, so to speak. So I don't know, maybe that could be the story. Does it take the same kind of step back, third person worldview of looking at our society and how we as a society adapt and address certain types of issues that Joker brought up so prominently in the first one and so beautifully? Does it become a little bit more comic booky? If they go to a second round, do they try to adapt it a bit, become a little bit more comic booky and a little bit less grounded in real world grit? I mean, I think the doors are wide open here. Rob, number one, do you think they're actually going to go through and make a Joker 2? For me, I think it's an inevitability just because it made $1 billion and won awards. So do you think they're going to do it? Then number two, if so, what do you think the direction is they're going to take with it?
Well, I think they're absolutely, as you pointed out, why would you know? How many movies make $1 billion on a $65 million spend? Like, not many. So this is also one of the most profitable studio movies ever made. So why not do another one? I see no downside. And in terms of what it's about, I mean, all you have to do is look at our own society, look at the fractures in American society. I used to believe that the Constitution and the Bill of Rights would sort of unite us all as Americans. Well, that's not even enough anymore. We have such deep divides. I mean, look at what's going on in the United States over the last decade. That alone gives you so much fodder. I mean, imagine what's happening in America today, happening in one man's mind, or one man's fractured mind. I mean, my God, the stories are rich that could come out of that. And Joker, maybe he has a messianic complex and wants to lead a group of people. He wants to start a Joker cult, or maybe who knows what he's going to do. I mean, it could be amazing, but there's a million different ways they could go, especially from the first film. So, John, I just see the storylines I could see a Joker movie expand the same way that The Dark Knight expanded on Batman Begins. And I think a sequel to Joker has the potential to be better than the first film, to be honest.
Really? To be better than the first one?
Yeah.
That's saying something. That's
It's not easy, but I think the way that the movie worked, that where you can take the character now, especially in light of what's gone on in America. There's a lot of material it's dramatic gold to be mined or panned or however you do it. But yes.
All right, guys, the question is for you. What do you think about this whole thing with Joker? Do you think they're going to actually move ahead and do it? Do you think they're going to be able to kind of recapture that magic? What do you think the storyline should be? Do you, for some reason, think it needs to have Batman in it? I mean, I don't know. Whatever you guys are thinking, jump on down to the comment section below and let us know your thoughts. All right, guys. With that all said, let's now take a second and pay a couple of bills here, shall we? And hear from our friends over at Stamps.com. Hey guys, we want to take a second and thank the sponsor of today's episode, Stamps.com. Now, you know Stamps.com. They've been supporting the John Campea Show for a while here. Now, let's face it. Going to the post office is time-consuming and really not the way you want to be spending your time. And that's why I highly recommend to do your mailing and shipping online with Stamps.com. Stamps.com allows you to mail and ship anytime, anywhere, right from your computer. You can send letters, ship packages, and you can pay a lot less with discounted rates from UPS, USPS, and more. You see, that's why Stamps.com is a must-have for any business. Whether you're a small office sending out invoices, an online seller shipping out your orders, whether you're somebody who's just trying to send things out to your friends and family, or if you're a giant warehouse like sending out thousands of packages a day, Stamps.com can handle all of it with absolute ease. And here's the best thing. With Stamps.com, you get up to 40% off of post office rates and up to 62% off UPS shipping rates. And this is why Stamps.com is an absolute no-brainer. It saves you time, it saves you money. It's no wonder that nearly 1 million small businesses already use Stamps.com. So stop wasting your time going to the post office and go to Stamps.com instead. There's no risk. And with my promo code Campea, just go up to that microphone up in the corner, click on that and enter my code Campea. You get a special offer that includes a 4-week trial plus free postage and a digital scale, no long-term commitments or contracts needed. Again, just go to Stamps.com, click on that microphone at the top and enter the promo code Campea. Stamps.com. Never go to the post office again. All right, and we want to thank Stamps.com for supporting our channel. Remember, guys, make sure you use that promo code Campea. Not only does it help out the sponsor of today's shows, it helps out the John Campea Show as well. So thank you to Stamps.com. Okay, guys. With that down, let's now move over and start taking your live comments and questions you get sent in. You'll notice that it's not available anymore. I have to turn it off after about 15 or 20 minutes, so you got to get them in a little bit early. But let's jump on over and start taking those questions, shall we? We're going to start off here with... Who are we starting off here with? We're supposed to be starting with... Hold a second. For whatever reason, I got the wrong thing up. There we go. B. Gill. B. Gill writes, or B. Gill Studios writes in, hey guys, I still don't know if you know, but it looks like Dylan O'Brien may be cast or at least offered the role of Nightwing in the Batgirl movie. But yeah, there's been whispers of that going around. That has not been reported by or affirmed by any legitimate, like any of the real legitimate news sources out there.
Who's that again? Was he the Maze Runner guy?
He's the Maze Runner guy, and on top of Maze Runner, he was just in that, what was that Monsters movie? Just World of Monsters, Monster War. What he's
oh yeah,
there's like some kind of
Monster Hunter.
Monster Hunter, yeah.
Monster Hunter.
Was it called Monster
That one was
Hunter?
with
the
Resident,
yeah.
Resident Evil girl was in
Yeah,
it.
That's not. I don't think Love and Monsters. Thank you, Casey Mack. Love and Monsters, where like there's this monster apocalypse in the world, and he goes on this trek to find his love and all that kind of stuff. Actually, really.
I
good.
liked it.
I like him.
I do too.
But so would he be all right as a Nightwing? Sure, but again, there's no legitimate reports about that, so it might happen. I'm just saying, don't get attached to that idea just quite yet. All right, A. Marcellus writes, since Mandalorian and Boba Fett are 5+ years after Return of the Jedi, that still leaves 25 years of untold stories until the sequel trilogy. Do you think they might try a new type of Thrawn trilogy-like story? No, I think they are totally redoing Thrawn. And the Thrawn they've had in Rebels, and I'm looking forward to seeing the Thrawn they have in Ahsoka, man. I am very excited to see that. Are they going to do that? No. And quite frankly, I want the Star Wars stories to move forward after the sequel trilogy. Like, not with Rey, Finn, and Poe again, but like in the universe of Star Wars post that. I'm kind of over the middling stuff. But I am looking forward to Obi-Wan. I'm looking forward to Ahsoka. I'm looking forward to The Acolyte, whenever that's going to be. But I don't think they're going to try redoing Thrawn. You never know, though. B. Gill also writes, I also wanted to let you know that I'm 27 and my 10th film, Sparrow, releases on February 18th. The trailer for it hit 1,000 views within 5 days of release, just FYI. That's awesome, man. You make your own films like that. You go and do that. That's awesome, man. All right, Casey Mack writes, John, what is the chances that we see a Peacemaker season 2? I know James Gunn might be busy with Guardians 3, but after that, there's a chance he could go back to that since it's getting a good reception. Well, yeah, but remember, he's already shooting Guardians 3. I mean, that's already being done. It's not like, once this is done, then he's got to go and start. He's going to be done and wrapped up with Guardians in the next number of months, I think. Listen, we talked the other day, Rob, about this hit the number one show in the world status. People are loving this show. I lose my mind. I mean, literally, I now count down the days until the next episode of Peacemaker. I love this show so much. The success they're having, I can't imagine there's not going to be a season 2. Can you? Are they going to do one?
I think so. And didn't they say he's going to develop yet another spin-off show too?
He's talking about it. Another spin-off.
Yeah. But Peacemaker's great, so why wouldn't they?
Yeah,
it's all about the numbers, man, and people are watching.
I agree. Okay, next up. John Redcord writes, Black Widow made $379 million on a $200 million budget. Is it fair to call it the first MCU flop? And do you think there will be a Black Widow 2? I don't think they ever even thought about doing a Black Widow 2. That was a one and done thing. But no, you can't consider it its first flop because Black Widow had a very unique set of circumstances in that it was released day and date in theaters on Disney Plus as well that people had to pay for. So you got to take that $375 million and add whatever underwhelming amount of money they made on Disney Plus as well, and add to that. Black Widow was ended up being profitable. It would have been more profitable if it had a theatrical exclusive release, but it did end up being profitable. John Redcorn also writes, also, boy, did the Royal Rumble suck hard this year.
Oh, yeah.
I'll be honest, I only watched, because I was also watching Bellator, because I don't usually watch Bellator, but Ryan Bader
was defending the heavyweight. I didn't even know Bellator was on this weekend.
Yeah, he was defending the heavyweight title.
Against?
One of Fedor Emelianenko's proteges.
Oh, okay.
I can't remember. But anyway, Bader won. So the only match Ann and I saw was the Women's Royal Rumble.
Which was great.
I don't watch a lot of wrestling these days, but the Women's Royal Rumble was great.
Two things. I'm sad that Alexa Bliss wasn't a part of the Rumble, and I thought Bayley would show up too. But other than that, it was a good Rumble.
I'll tell you what, Ronda Rousey came out.
Yep.
She didn't miss a beat.
No.
She looked great to me.
No,
so
yeah, she did.
But I don't even know who won the Men's Royal Rumble.
It's Brock Lesnar. I was just reading about it because I purposely skipped the men's just because after the women's and then after the title match, Bobby Lashley and Brock Lesnar, I just said, nah, I'm gonna, because there wasn't anyone in the Rumble where I'm like, oh, I can't wait to see what this guy does.
But Brock came out and
Brock came out at number 30 from what I'm reading, and he just destroyed everyone, threw everyone out. It was
I would have liked to have seen
him
that.
and Drew McIntyre at the end. And of course, which is the better match at WrestleMania? You already knew.
Yeah.
I hate when there's not a second guy that you actually can think can, be the winner.
When Edge came out and won it, that to me was kind of surprising.
Yeah.
That was surprising.
So
all right.
Yeah. So that's what happened.
Okay. Next up, Casey Mack writes, it's really amazing to see what I did there. That No Way Home. Let me see. Is it really amazing? See what I did there? But guys, punctuation is our friend. Is it really amazing? See what I did there? That No Way Home is only $25 million away from passing Avatar as the third domestic movie in the box office. It is. I wouldn't have thought it would catch Avatar, but I'm thinking probably within the next 10 days. I mean, if it made 11 or 12 this weekend, next weekend is probably going to make 7, maybe 7, but I think it's going to catch Avatar at this point. A. Marcellus writes, also, I'm wondering what happens to Jason Syndulla, the son of Kanan and Hera. I hope he doesn't end up at Luke's temple only to die. I hope he does. No, I mean, honestly, I hope he does, because that would be consistent narratively. That would add, because right now we hear all the students at Luke's Jedi temple died, but we don't know any of them, so we don't give a shit.
Right.
It would actually give us some emotional connection to it. If we're like, Oh my God.
Well, wouldn't it have
Hera's
been nice
son
to have
died
seen
there?
that? Like seeing Luke training Jedi at
We
his
may.
Hope we may.
We may at some point, but yeah, I hope he does die there because that gives it emotional weight, but that's just me. All right. Casey writes, I know it's a Netflix film and we know how well those guys, but the latest trailer for Texas Chainsaw Massacre looked interesting. We have to see. I'll be honest, I didn't even watch it because I wasn't interested, but Rob, you have some connection to Texas Chainsaw Massacre. What do you think about the trailer?
Well, I the first movie I ever worked on was Leatherface Texas Chainsaw Massacre 3, and that was not the one with Renee Zellweger and Matthew McConaughey. That was the one with Viggo Mortensen. But John, I feel like the Texas Chainsaw Massacre is the Fetch of horror franchises. They keep trying to make it happen, and I just don't think, the first Texas Chainsaw Massacre is a brilliant, horrifying, brutal, really disturbing movie, and they keep trying to turn Leatherface into the same kind of character that Freddy Krueger or Jason Voorhees, take your pick, is, and it's not that. It is inherently an unpleasant experience about a cannibal family, and they keep trying to make it fun. I will say this: the trailer, it looks fine. I'm like, okay, it's the same thing you'd always think it was going to be. However, the last scene in the trailer, I chuckled, even though it's totally not what Texas Chainsaw is. It was hilarious. And I'm not going to say what it is. You just got to see it. But I'm looking at this going, by the way, that final scene is wildly not a Texas Chainsaw tone of a film. But, they keep trying. Keep trying.
Next up, we've got Jabin Carter, who writes, someone needs to Photoshop Robbie Gould irreverently kicking field goals at different events like Oscar ceremony, presidential nominations. I mean, that's the 49ers field goal kicker, right? No, what they need to do is get the frickin' Kansas City or the Cincinnati Bengals field goal kicker. That dude is like perfect.
McPherson, baby.
He's literally perfect. Was he 11 for 11?
Yeah,
now?
and he literally looks 11 years old too.
He does.
It's like this baby kicking field goals
But
now.
he's like nailing like 50 plus yarders.
Yeah,
like
man.
it's nothing.
Under the pressure, that's the kind of kicker you want.
Yeah.
Not just for him, in the whole league. If
All
you
right.
can't get a touchdown, got to get a kicker.
All right. Next up, Derek Large writes, hey, John and crew, with the amount of content releasing every day between movies, TV, gaming, and books, how do you keep yourself from getting overwhelmed by all the options? Thanks and have a great day. I mean, look, here's the thing. I get a lot of email messages from people because, a lot of times stuff will come up, certain shows, whatever, say, I haven't checked that out yet. And inevitably, of course, I get these emails from people who know how to do this better than I do, obviously. And write to me, say, John, how can you call yourself whatever if you're not even watching all the shows? Blah blah blah. I'm like, go fuck yourself. There are only so many hours in the day, and putting this show to, like, everybody thinks, oh, we don't do any prep for this show. We just sit down in front of a camera, turn on cameras, and go. Like, people don't understand.
Dude, you give me notes the night before.
Of course, yeah. Well, our show notes have to go up by a certain time. They have to be fully researched, everything done out. What are the quotes we're pulling? Where are we going with the stories? And those got to be sent out the night before the show even comes out. And then I spend the rest of the night doing the rest of stuff, and in the morning I'm going. But for all of us as fans, there is so much content that we do have to pick and choose what we're going to watch. And on top of that, we have regular life. Maybe you're a student. Maybe you're a husband. Maybe you're whatever. You have other jobs. You gotta pick and choose what it is you're going to watch. And there is simply so much content because between Showtime, Amazon, Disney Plus, HBO Max, Peacock, Paramount Plus, regular network television, and all the movies, Netflix, and all the movies that come out, there's only so much time to watch. And so you got to be picking. No, I don't watch everything.
Dude,
I can't.
I got to tell you, like this weekend we finished Ozark, the 7 episodes of the first half of Ozark season 4. Then I also I'm working my way through Archive 81, which I'm very much enjoying. And I watched the first episode of All of Us Are Dead, the new Korean horror series on
That
Netflix.
one I want to watch. I want to watch that one. I've also started watching Station 11.
Someone just messaged me they're watching that.
Oh, it's All of Us Are Dead. Just, I'm in. After the first episode,
Okay, I gotta
I'm in.
watch it.
And I don't know how, it's like 13 episodes long. I don't know how they're going to maintain after the first episode. I'm like, well, everyone's they're all dead, and apparently that's why it's called All of Us Are Dead. It's wait till you get to the end. It's of the first episode.
Well, I've started on Station 11, so I got to get
Which is
through
also
that.
great, based on a great book.
And
Korea is doing some things.
oh
with
no, they're
Hollywood.
doing so much good
Dude,
stuff.
I want to go to
God.
Korea. I want to move to Korea and work in the Korean film industry.
All right, next up. Al Renshaw writes, love the Halo trailer, and visually it looked great. It does. I mean, it doesn't look like it has a feature film budget, but it looks way better than that first trailer.
Looks great.
Put out. Yeah. Scotty H writes, so I don't know if anyone saw this, but in the new Batman theater posters, if you hold a backlight to it, there is a hidden riddles and phrases hype. Really?
Wow.
I didn't know that.
I mean, I don't know how you go up into a movie theater and pull the poster down to shine a flashlight behind it, but I'm going to keep my eyes open for that because that's actually pretty cool if they do that, Scotty.
The black light can reveal some unsavory things.
Yeah, I never want to see a black light on anything.
What are you saying, Ray? What are you saying,
I'm
John?
just saying, the black light knows the truth about everybody. About everybody. Will know everything about you.
light knows
Will know
the
whether to
truth.
shake your hand or just wave to you. Everything is told
What are
right
you
there.
doing with your hand there, Ray? Come on now.
Black light is the truth. All
About
right.
everything.
Okay, let's keep going here. There's a new T-shirt right there that's got the black light reveals the truth. Okay, next up. Okay, thanks for putting that on our radar, Scotty H. Really appreciate it. I'm going to keep my eyes open for that, Scotty. John Redcorn writes, after seeing Kingsman, which in my opinion was okay, box office is 114 million. Do you still do a Kingsman 3, or is it time to shelve it? And are you interested in one? I have zero interest in Kingsman 3. I love the first Kingsman, but the Kingsman 2 made me go, yeah, I'm done. I'm done. I mean, don't get me wrong. I'm going to see Kingsman 3. And I'm going to keep my fingers. I'm going to keep my fingers crossed that I love it like I did the first one. But am I have any excitement for it? No. If I'm a Stewie executive, I pull the plug on it immediately. But I think they're going to make it, and we're going to keep our fingers crossed and hope for the best. All right. I'm going to cheer for it for sure. Kevin Kamaki writes in, love your show, John. Thank you, Kevin. It's always nice when people just want to write in and say something nice. Thanks, dude. Al Renshaw writes, over under 15%. Choot is playing High Evolutionary. Who's Choot? Is playing High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy 3. I have absolutely loved him in Peacemaker. Is that the guy who plays Myrn?
Maybe. I love him. If
Oh,
that's him.
I love the character he plays.
I love his voice. I love
yeah.
his cadence, his delivery. It's great.
And the story twist of the character is great. Chances you think we see the High Evolutionary in Guardians of the Galaxy 3?
It's an interesting, certainly an interesting character. I could see that happening. I mean, Adam Warlock. Could be interesting.
They are going in that direction, it seems
Yeah.
like. All right, next up. Never Lose Your Nerd writes, go Rams, baby. A lot of LA people very, very happy about the Rams. Super Bowl bound against Ray and my cousin's Bengals. Looks like the Rams did retire Brady, and hello, Chris, from a fellow Texan in Dallas. And obviously, Chris and Logan are off, finishing off their move today. Chris will be back tomorrow. I mean, it's going to be terrible because like Anne has followed the Bengals a lot too because her big brother loves the Bengals, so she's kind of grown up loving the Bengals. But she's an LA girl. She was born in LA.
Yeah, I am at LA too. So like
yeah,
I
but
said,
Bengals
Rob,
are your team.
whoever, it's not going to be that much of a painful loss because if we lose, we're losing to my sister's team, and I couldn't lose to anyone better than her.
So Anne and you win because Anne loves the Rams and she loves the Chiefs. So whoever wins the Super Bowl, she's gonna be happy, right?
Let's just party that day.
We're gonna have a
party.
big like party. We did up some tri-tip yesterday.
Yo, yeah, the tri-tip.
Oh, it was so
broccoli,
good.
rice pilaf.
Oh, we ate well yesterday, man. We ate well yesterday.
Well, if you're gonna have a party,
come on by, dude.
I'm gonna bring some fish.
You gonna bring fish?
Fish. We're gonna fry up some
Some
salmon.
Oh,
Not
fish?
fry it up. Cook it over an open flame.
okay. Well,
All right, let's
Some
keep
shrimp.
going on here. Next up, Chris
crab.
Miner writes, just watch Don't Look Up. I thought it was good, but not great. I really wish Adam McKay does straight up comedies again. Hope him and Will make up. Listen, I love seeing the evolution of McKay.
Yeah.
His film, the one with Steve Carell,
The Big Short.
The Big Short. The Big Short is so good.
And Jeremy Strong. I love The Big Short and Christian Bale. I mean, the cast in that movie, Brad Pitt. It's so good.
It's so great. So no, I don't want to see him just going back to straight up comedy again. I like seeing the direction he's going. But I didn't love Don't Look Up. I liked it. I thought it was good. I didn't love it, but I still want to see him do this kind of stuff. I do. And then he's got that LA Lakers thing
That
coming up.
mini-series,
What's
but
it
yeah,
called,
yeah.
Ray? Showtime?
Showtime.
That looks great.
It looks so good.
It looks so good. All right. Let's see. Next up, Andy writes, Tom Brady is or isn't retiring. Who cares? We don't talk about Brady. No. We don't talk about this. Is a little play on we don't talk about Bruno. Listen, think about this. If Tom Brady is retiring, well, that'll suck. That sucks for me. But he retires holding some records that'll never going to be touched. Number of playoff wins. I think they said he's got like this more playoff wins than the next 3 quarterbacks combined have playoff wins. 7 Super Bowl rings. 7 Super Bowl rings. And at age 44, if this is his last season, at age 44, he retires at 44, leading the league in completions, yards, and touchdowns at 44 years old.
Well, he's also got to think about his health.
Yep.
44 is he had an amazing run, but one bad hit. He's getting older and he's still amazing, but why risk that? You've
especially when you got Giselle at home.
Yeah, and he could reinvent himself and have a whole new career doing something amazing.
Well, he's got his TB12 company and all that kind of stuff.
Yeah, here's my thing with Brady, with LeBron, with Mayweather, the boxer. I really didn't care for them or didn't like them at first, but you keep winning, you keep doing those things.
Yeah, when all you do is
you
win.
at least get respect. And then it's gotten to the point where I really like Brady now. So, winning changes people too, like people's view of you. You know what I mean?
And here's the funny thing about him too. You gotta remember this. He don't need the money because he's got all the money in the world. But besides that, remember this. Tom Brady's wife has more money than he does. Tom Brady's wife is richer than him. You don't have to do this. I've been sitting at home playing PlayStation all day. I'm retired at 28. Like if I had that kind
That was
of
a great backup plan by Brady.
great backup plan. Wonderful backup plan. All right, let's move on here. Andy writes, the Flash should cross over with Fast and the Furious. Call it Fast Point. Fast Point Paradox. What's stronger, the Speed Force or family? I'm in for it, Andy.
Wow.
I'm in for it. You got it. That's
I
the
love
one.
these realistic questions.
This one would totally work. Oh, and our friend must be very happy today. Cincinnati's 5-star barber
Wow.
writes in, one more to go. Hooray! Not who day. Hooray! I mean, who day Super Bowl wanted to come kick it with you guys, but tickets are out of this world. By the way, Moonfall sucks. Tell you what, Ann and I, a number of weeks ago, Ann and I looked at Super Bowl tickets, and they were the tickets we wanted were about $3,000 each. We thought about getting them and say, well, this will represent the next, instead of taking the next 3 vacations we'll buy ourselves Super Bowl tickets. But we should have bought them.
You should have bought them.
Because the same
long?
tickets last night, we went on and looked, the same tickets on Vivid Seats that we were going to get now that LA is in the Super Bowl are going for $9,000 a piece.
Of course they are.
And we were like, if we had invested $6,000 and bought those tickets, we could be selling those for $18,000.
Or better
today.
yet, just
Or
knowing
go to the game.
Or better yet, just knowing the Super Bowl was in LA and how rare they come to your city. You should have just bought the tickets at the beginning of the season.
But I didn't know if anybody would be in the game that I didn't care about.
Yeah, but then it's
that's
the
a lot
Super
of
Bowl.
money, Ray.
But when you think about it, when
is
you
the
do
Super
think
Bowl.
about, it's like if the Olympics come here, I'm gonna go see an event.
Yeah.
Like how often
But are you going
does
to
it come
spend
here?
$3,000 to see the 4x100 meter swimming relay?
Oh well, I didn't know it cost that much. Hell no.
But that's what we're cocky. We're talking about that kind of money. Anyway, we need to keep moving here.
Right.
Next up, thanks for writing that in, Cincinnati's 5-star Bengal, who was messaging Ray during the game.
Oh,
yesterday.
like when he's quiet, I know I don't even have to watch the game. When he doesn't message me, I'm like, they're losing. But then as soon as I get that message, I'm like, thank God he messaged me. Something good. Something good is happening.
All right. Next up, Al Renshaw writes, how excited are you guys for Jackass this weekend? Very excited. I'm super excited. Got our tickets. Me and Ray are going to go watch it on Thursday. We're going to let you guys see our reaction afterwards. Ray's a little bit nervous about it. All right.
Yeah.
Andy writes, can't believe you guys aren't even considering this. You fools. The badass video game movie that The Rock was talking about was clearly Tetris. Hey, listen, man, don't laugh. If you can make a movie out of Lego and they're making a Monopoly movie, why not Tetris? Shapes.
Yeah.
That's the great John
Does The Rock
Campea
play the
say.
block?
Shapes.
Does The Rock play the block?
He plays the straight line block.
I hate the little zigzag one.
The L-shaped one.
No, the one that goes like this, like the Z.
Oh, yes. Yeah,
that always messes
I
up
call
my
it the-
Tetris block.
I call it the N.
Oh, the N.
That's right. I hate them all. They should all just be square.
Come on, dude.
Yeah.
That's the basis of great Tetris.
I
is
know,
that zigzag
and I'm
piece.
not a part of that basis.
You know who's awesome at Tetris?
Anne
Anne.
and Olive.
And is Olive play too? By the way,
Bro.
for those you don't know, Olive is Anne and Ray's sister.
They, when I was younger, them two, I believe, hated each other when they beat each other's top score. And I was in the middle, not playing at all because I couldn't compete with them.
Well, Anne was playing like online where you have like hundreds of other Tetris players, and she's always finishing at or near the top.
Both of them are geniuses
It's
at that
crazy.
game.
She's so good at that. All right, next up. Andy writes, Ray should use Nicole Kidman. Oh, no. Ray should sue Nicole Kidman because Heartbreak did not feel good in a place like the theaters after watching Moonfall. Of course, that's of course, the Nicole Kidman line in the stupid AMC commercial. Heartbreak feels good in a place like this. And Nicole's awesome. I ain't dissing Nicole. Nicole's one of the GOATs.
The GOATs.
But those AMC commercials that you play when I'm already sitting in an AMC theater and it's already been 20 minutes since showtime started, are kind of dumb. All right. Rookie Tookie writes, sends in like $20 of a super chat. Thank you, dude. Appreciate that. All right. Hello, gang. This fall, I'm anticipating for the arrival of my first ever hot toy.
Oh, yes.
Very nice.
Yes.
Very nice.
And
Welcome
what is
to your
it?
doom.
A brand new deluxe edition Mandalorian with baby Yodster, and man, does it look glorious. My only concern is keeping it clean from dust. Rob, I'm going to go out on a limb here and guess you've got this one pre-ordered.
Oh, it might be the third release.
Yeah, third.
I have the middle one already. This is probably the newest one that has the actual chromed out Beskar armor and with all the accessories. It's amazing.
Put it in a glass case, dude.
Yeah, get a DTOF at IKEA.
Put it in a glass case.
Because I'll tell you something. As soon as you get that figure,
You're
going to order another one.
Yeah.
You're going to order another one.
As soon as Mando shows up in any of the episodes, Hot Toys just sells. They have to re-release the figure over and over again.
By the way, did you see the new sideshow things? WWE Legend sideshow.
All those statues?
The quarter scale of Stone Cold, Ultimate
Yeah.
Warrior, Macho Man.
You're a statue
Dwayne
guy.
Johnson. They're 1/4 scale. They look, the Stone Cold Steve Austin one looks awesome.
I love it, but I need something that moves.
And they're like $600.
I need something that moves. Right, Rob? You with me on that?
Yeah, I'm not the biggest statue guy, but I got to tell you, there's some statues that Elizabeth doesn't understand why
The
statues.
only one I've ever wanted, Doctor Doom on his throne.
I used to
That
have
big
that.
one.
I had a Dr. Doom's throne that I gave
the
to a
best
friend of mine.
All right.
But I want to get Peter Cushing and Christopher Lee.
Oh, those will look great. Which next one up? Thanks for running that, and enjoy that hot toy, man. But as Rob said, be very, very careful because once you get one, like I had none, then I had one, then I blinked and I had 4. So just they're very, very. Once you see how good they look up on one of your shelves, rookie, dude, just breathe and don't spend all your money.
And the best part about John buying a Hot Toy, I get to play with it.
Yeah.
He's like, cool.
Just
Wait,
go
you
and I-
don't
what's a
play
cool-
with hot toys. Do
No, he's like, what's a cool pose, Ray? And then I'll be
okay.
like, let me take it from here, John.
I gotta give John's wife Ann credit for this because she bought Spider-Gwen,
yep.
and she did a phenomenal job posing that figure.
Did you help her with that one, or she did the one herself?
She did that
She did
all
the one
on
by
her
herself.
own.
Yeah, I
And
sent
it
her
comes
I
with
sent her a
Spider-Ham.
pose video, but she did a great job.
And it
posing
came with
that
a little
figure.
spider ham with
Yep.
it. It looked great. All right, next up. Andy writes, on Michael Rosenbaum's podcast, Jensen Ackles said that he's developing a DC property with Warner Brothers. Don't know what it is, but I'm excited. Well, of course, Jensen Ackles is about to show up as a Soldier Boy
The boys.
on The Boys, which I'm so freaking excited about that show coming back. It's going to be interesting to see which way he's going to go with that and see what property he's talking about. So, yeah, I'm a big fan of Jensen Ackles, have been even before the Supernatural days. Marie Seifring writes, all right, Chris, who is not here today, obviously. She's off moving with Logan. She'll be back tomorrow. All right, Chris, on a scale of 1 to 5 golden retrievers, who has more golden retrievers energy, Jason Momoa or Chris Hemsworth? I don't know what I got a feeling Chris knows what that's a reference to. I do not know.
Aw.
It's probably a scale of something that we have no business commenting on. So, Marie,
I'm gonna go with Jason Momoa.
sure.
I have no idea.
And I'm gonna go with Hemsworth. Just
Yeah, I'm
'cause
gonna go with Hemsworth too.
he's
Not knowing
blonde.
what it is.
He's blonde, so it's a golden retriever
So
look, right?
hopefully one of us will remember when Chris is
When
back
Chris
in
is on
here,
tomorrow to
and
ask
we'll
her.
just go.
But the golden
what's
retrievers. All right, next up, we got Brandon Blake who writes, we've never really gotten the detective in live action Batman film. I'm hoping this is it, and my expectations are reaching unrealistic levels. I mean, we've had bits and pieces of the detective, but you're right. We've never really had, I love when Ra's al Ghul calls him that, detective. I just like the way he says that, but you're right. We've never really had that, and I have a feeling, look, this is obviously a lot of mystery to this. There are mysteries and secrets to uncover. I think we are going to get truly that detective Batman, but also a pretty damn badass Batman at the same time, Brandon. Cannot wait. All right, Nick writes, Ray, congrats. Hope you and the gang can go to the Super Bowl in 2 weeks. Yeah, no, Ray's not going to the Super Bowl.
No, we're not going to Super Bowl. We're just watching it on TV.
Like last night, Ann and I realized it's been forever. Since it's been like 12, 13 years since you've been to a Lakers game.
Yeah.
So Ann and I were talking the other day about buying some tickets to a Lakers game, bringing Ray with us, but that's like $100 a ticket.
Yeah.
I ain't bringing Ray to the Super Bowl. I ain't going to the Super Bowl.
You know what we can do?
What's that?
We can go to the tailgate though.
You know how hard it is to
But
get there?
I
It's gonna
don't
take
want to do
hours.
that. Yeah, I don't want to do that. I just want to be here with the barbecue, drinks, and just have a good time.
Did you hear what the parking spots cost?
Just
For a regular LA Rams game, to park at SoFi Stadium, I think is close to $200. Parking across the street at the LA Forum, so you're still about a mile walk away, is $80 to park. They're saying for the Super Bowl, it's going to be $600 to park. $600
that is more than
to park.
that is more than the most deluxe hot toy you can ever buy.
That's not more than the Hulkbuster.
Oh well, that's a
on,
special
dude.
thing. That's a special thing.
Yeah, but like,
I have
oh
one.
my God.
No way. That's
And-
2 consoles.
Some people are saying in there, like Zach is saying Uber. You can't. An Uber to get there is going to take you like 3 hours. 3 hours to get there just because of the traffic around. It's
Does a train go there?
It doesn't.
I
It
don't
doesn't
think
matter
so. I don't
for a
think it comes anywhere
tailgate.
close.
You have to bring your barbecue. What are you? You can't
Yeah, you gotta bring
smooch
barbecue.
off other people.
All right.
Can you go the night before?
I guess you could, but you still got to pay.
Sleep in the car?
Like Rocky and look up at the stadium.
All
door
right, we got to
and
keep
throw your
going here.
helmet at the-
Next up, Kevin Cow writes, Rams and Bengals, let's go. A year of the Tiger, Rams and Bengals. And it's, I still can't believe the Bengals beat the Kansas City Chiefs. Suthius writes, recommending Archive 81 on Netflix. An archiver who works in a museum is tasked with restoring old VHS tapes. As he does, he unravels a supernatural sci-fi-esque mystery that involves the owner of those tapes who has gone missing. Very cool and unexpected ending. And Rob, you were saying you've been watching Archive 81,
Yeah, I've
right?
got 2 more episodes to go. I have to say, it casts a really interesting spell, and watching it, especially episode 6, is really, really creepy. It's really well done.
I gotta see this.
But it's also,
Yeah, I'm gonna have to check it out.
if I were to sit down and explain the actual plot to you, you'd be like, wait, what? It's really like sci-fi and horror. It's really, I would say it's a little convoluted, but it's really interesting.
I gotta check this out. I'm gonna put that on my list, man. All right, next up, we got Justin the Movie Nerd who writes, films with the weirdest concept of 2021. Titane, Annette, Barb and the Star go to Vista Del Mar. I'm not familiar with that one. Malignant, I wanted to like Malignant. I just did not.
That's a hoot.
And The Green Knight. I really quite enjoyed The Green Knight. Any of those ones stand out to you, Rob?
I love them all except Barb, and I haven't seen the Vista Motel film.
I'm not even familiar with that one.
Titane obviously was on
Yeah,
my
yeah,
list,
yeah.
one of my favorites, which by the way I just got on Blu-ray. So I think all of those movies have delighted me. I interviewed the costume designer of Green Knight this weekend,
Oh, that's awesome.
and I really love that film.
All right, next up. Brandon Blake writes, the next DC show should be V for Vigilante. Oh my God, I'm loving Vigilante on this show so much. I just love that character. Saud Ul Hassan writes, congratulations on Dota Season 2, Rob. I like Season 2 better than 1. I hope Netflix greenslights Season 3 and that some way Lena comes back. Of course, for those of you who don't know, I really should be introducing every episode when I introduce Rob, saying Saturn Award winning, writer-director of the William Shatner film Free Enterprise, producer of featurettes on films like Lord of the Rings and Superman Returns.
Yeah, but you know, John.
And working on Dota.
Mr. Robert.
What have you done for me lately? Well,
Well,
no.
Dota. Dota's
I have
a
to say,
thing.
Dota's latest thing I've worked on, and I'm really proud. Like Ashley Edward Miller, who's in movie trailers, a love story. He was the showrunner, and I've known him for years. We worked together on Agent Cody Banks, and I think he really did a great job on, and all the writing staff did an incredible job on Dota. And season 2 really takes it into very interesting. Do you know that there's a scene in season 2 where Anson Mount, who plays Captain Pike on Discovery, John Delancey, who plays Q, and Jeffrey Combs, who played Wayoon on Deep Space Nine, are all in the same scene together.
That's awesome.
So if you're a Star Trek fan, as I am, and then there's, of course, Doug Bradley, who played Pinhead, and Ashley Lawrence from Hellraiser. I mean, Ashley Miller just put together the most amazing voice cast of just crazy cameos, and then the main cast is amazing. It's amazing. So it's very privileged to have worked on that show.
One of these days, when we have a lot more money, I got to get Paul Heyman just to come in and say, and sitting over here, Mr. Robert, and then Heyman interrupt. Wait! My name
is Paul
Heyman.
Oh, okay.
And
just
I'm
Michael Buffer.
introducing, and then have him introduce. If you're a WWE fan, you know what we're talking about. All right, next up. Out of Time writes, okay, any of you see the movie Fanboys? Yeah, actually, well,
Great movie.
Come on.
Love it.
dude, I've had Kyle Newman on my show.
Kyle's the best.
I've had dinner with Kyle a number of times. You're right back and forth. Yeah, yes, we have seen Fanboys. Yeah, very rare. It's great, and Kyle is awesome. All right, next up. Christopher Brickner writes, one of two. The Halo trailer was good, but I have complaints. Giving Cortana human skin color was a bad idea, as it looks uncanny valley. Blue skin, like the games, would have been better. Also, why not get back the Master Chief voice actor? There was also just a Halo game, and the new voice just doesn't sound right. Okay, so here's the problem, Christopher. Is the problem with bringing recognized IP, whether they're from TV shows or video games or animated things, whatever, is part of the problem is we become, and I'm including myself in this, I'm a part of this, you and me, Christopher, you and me both. We both do this. I've done it too. We get a real sense of entitlement that what we've already know is what they should do in the movie. And the reality is, most of the time, not all the time, but most of the time, no, you shouldn't. This is a new thing. This is a new medium. It's being done in a different way. And what fans of the original material need to get over saying, like, I remember when they were doing Ahsoka and they were bringing Ahsoka into Mandalorian and they got Rosario Dawson. And yet still, instead of celebrating that, there were a whole bunch of fans who were saying, it should have been the name of the girl who does the voice. Yeah, Ashley something or other.
Was it
Eckstein or
something
I can't remember.
Yeah.
Who is wonderful. Who is absolutely wonderful. But I think Ashley would be the first person to tell you, my God, if you can get Rosario Dawson, you get Rosario Dawson. And it's a new iteration. And remember, there are going to be more people watching this. So I was fine with it. I don't think you need to make it like the game.
Those 3 gripes that he had were really, like, if I had a problem with it, it would have been mine too. But just having a Halo series coming, it just overtakes all of that. Just be happy we're getting Halo in a series, and it looks good so far.
And I also think too that a lot of that stems from the fact that they got Peter Cullen to come back as the voice of Optimus Prime in the Transformers movies.
Yes.
And after you've done that, I mean, that sort of sets a precedent for fans. But I think, like you pointed out, Rosario, a voice actor, is a very different kind of an actor than somebody who's appearing on screen.
Exactly.
And so maybe that's not always the best choice. Sometimes it is. Sometimes it's not.
Listen, if it's good, it's good. And if it's not, it's not. And swapping out whoever the voice actor was isn't going to make a difference. Isn't really going to be the difference maker between it being a good thing or a bad thing. So, all right, next up. Now we got Suthius who writes, never played Halo, but was always interested in the Master Chief character. As long as the show tells a good story about him, then I'm all in. I mean, that's the thing too. And I really hope that people who are fans of the game, if they deviate on the story, and they will deviate on the story. All that matters is it good? And if they deviate if they hardly deviate at all, but it doesn't turn out to work well in this medium, then what did you gain? And if they deviate a lot, I mean, I go back all the time to the comic book stuff, right? Civil War, the movie, is nothing like Civil War, the comic book.
No way.
But it's great. Days of Future Past is so different from the comic book story of Days of Future Past. But it's one of the best comic book movies ever made.
Age of Ultron.
Age of Ultron, completely different, right? So it's just, don't turn off just because it's different from the game, because it will be different from the game. Just take it for what it is, and hopefully it'll be awesome.
I welcome all new fans. This is what I want the show. This is one of the big reasons why I want a Halo series, to introduce new people who are unfamiliar with it, bring them into this universe, hopefully, and keep them there. You know what I mean?
All right, next up.
I'm with you.
The Wet Wookie writes, Ray, do you think Craig is going to be in the Halo show? I don't know who Craig is.
Oh, God. No, hopefully not. It was that when they first showed the Halo Infinite trailer and everyone was making fun of that guy. You've seen the memes.
I didn't see the memes. No, I've seen no memes.
Because it looked awful. Like, they released that trailer way too early, the first Halo Infinite trailer, and he became Craig. Everyone started calling him Craig.
All right, I'm not familiar with that. All right, Anthony Palmero writes, what does Anne mean when she says Dune is better than Star Wars? And did you make her eat soap for saying something like that?
So
them is marriage therapy words right there. Yeah, when Dune ends, and I turned to Anne, and I'm like, what did you say? For those of you who don't know, when the first time I watched Dune, I was with Anne, and we're watching it, and the movie ends, and I turned to Anne, because remember, Anne had never read the books. She knows nothing about the story of Dune at all. And we had a lot of discussions around here too about, are people who are uninitiated to Dune going to get the movie? Are they going to understand it? Blah, blah, blah. So Anna's never watched any of that. And the movie ended, and I turned to her. I was very curious. I said, so what did you think? And her face just stayed on the screen for a minute as the credits rolled. She goes, I like it better than Star Wars. You got to understand, Anne really likes Star Wars a lot. Like, the Emperor is her jam. That's her grandfather to her. The Emperor is her daddy. I mean, she loves Palpatine, right? But she's like, I think I like it better than Star Wars. She's obsessed with Dune.
she is.
Like, she's now obsessed. She's buying the Dune board games.
Good for her,
She's
though.
buying, I mean,
Good for her.
she is so in love with it. But when she's saying this better than Star Wars, I'm like, okay, honey, let's back it up a little bit. She goes, no, I like it more than Star Wars. I'm like, okay, I got to find therapists.
Well, to be fair, the first Star Wars was heavily influenced by Dune.
Oh,
the novel.
absolutely was. Yeah.
So
There were a lot of influences in there. All right, next up. Lincoln Johnson writes, I'm all for a Joker sequel. I love the compelling story, and of course, Joaquin Phoenix's performance was outstanding. I'm excited to see a fully realized Joker. Just don't call it Joker 2. Be creative. I'll be honest with you. I prefer numerical titles in franchises. I really do. It's just, be creative. Who gives a shit about the title of a movie? The title of a movie doesn't make it better or worse. And honestly, like, when you give numerical things like Iron Man 1, Iron Man 2, Iron Man 3, you always know which one you're talking about and in which order it is in relation to the other ones. Whereas when you say Captain America Civil War, where did that happen again? Where does that
I think that they will, though. I think
I agree with you.
Yeah, I mean, Joker, calling it Joker, not the Joker, just Joker. I think they're going to come up with a title. It's Joker something.
I agree. I think they will.
Yeah.
The joke of Jokey Fett. No?
Joke of Jokey Fett. All for it. Joke, as Ryan is saying in the live chat, Joker 2, joke's on you. I like that one too. Or Joker, Prince of Crime, or something.
Right.
I don't know. Like Clown Prince.
Oh, Clown Prince.
Just call it Clown
like
Prince.
That. I like that.
That one works.
I look, either way, I'm going to see it.
All right, next up. That was Lincoln Johnson. Thanks for sending that in, Lincoln. Wiley Todd writes, hey guys, have you seen the movie The Commitments? Yes, I have. It's become one of my favorite movies, Destination Anywhere. Dude, what year did that come out? Like, was that?
Oh, man.
Let me look at it.
88?
I was going to say, was it late 80s or early 90s?
Yeah, I don't know.
That's one. Actually, that came up again. Where were we watching that? It was years ago. We were just coming back from Universal City Walk. Something came up about it, and Ann wanted to watch it when we went home. We watched it again. But it's great.
Call Scott Mantz.
Scott Nance will always know the release date. You got a release date for that one, Ray?
No, yeah, hold on.
Okay,
Sorry.
we'll come back to Ray as he looks at the release date on that. But that's a good one, Wiley. All right, Rafael Casilio writes, and sends in like a $20 super chat. Thank you, Rafael, for supporting our channel on that level, man.
91.
Wow.
91.
Okay.
I knew it was early 90s, late 80s. Rafael Castillo writes, Last Night in Soho is very well done. A couple of Mr. X and unexpected twists. Creepy at times. I loved it. I knew there was a mystery about Anya Taylor-Joy's character, but not what I thought. Highly recommend. You know, I went in to Last Night in Soho with super high expectations. One, because a bunch of people saw it before I did, so the hype was really, really big. But number two, it's Edgar Wright. And Edgar Wright to me can do no wrong. Like I freaking love him as a filmmaker. He's so good. I did not love Last Night in Soho.
I didn't either. I bought it though.
I didn't dislike it. Don't get me wrong. I didn't dislike. I mean, first of all, it is beautiful. Like the way the shots are composed.
It's incredibly well made.
It's incredibly well made, and I like it. But I didn't love it. One of my big things to me was at the end. You know, we talk about this with Snake Eyes. It's difficult to love a movie when you actively don't really like the main protagonist. And because Snake Eyes was an asshole in Snake Eyes, right? Like you find yourself cheering for Storm Shadow in Snake Eyes. And in this, like this mean girl and the dude who's her love interest in it, right? I just never bought for a second that dude saw anything likable in her. And it's hard to really get into when you can't attach yourself to the character. But I mean, overall it was still good. I liked the Mr. X near the end when they went in a different direction. That was all pretty cool. But yeah, at the end of the day, I didn't love it. You didn't love it either?
I wanted to love it more. I thought it was good.
Yeah, I thought it was decent.
I didn't love it as much as I wanted to.
All right. Thanks for writing that in, Raphael. Next up, Cody Hunt writes, Pattinson said he was joking when he said he wasn't working out for Batman. He stated, it just feels embarrassing to talk about how you're working out. Yeah, as a matter of fact, I could not help but feel like he said something that might have been directed at me because there was a headline in the Hollywood Reporter. Because you know, when they announced Robert Pattinson was Batman, and it was just like the Ben Affleck thing, the whole world was against it. Like when they announced Affleck as Batman, like everything was memes as, oh, you got Ben Affleck as Batman. And like me and Schnepp got on the AMC YouTube channel minutes after it was announced. And we were like it felt like we were the only guys online saying, this is brilliant. He's going to be a great Batman. And I felt like the same thing was happening with Robert Pattinson. When Robert Pattinson got announced as Batman and everybody's like, Twilight boy, I'm like, you wait. Pattinson is going to be awesome in this role. He is a great actor. You wait and see. But then he did that interview with, I think it was Vanity Fair. And he said, no, I'm not going to work out for this. Like, and he said it so convincingly, even the writer of the article thought he was being serious.
Right.
Like, you got to remember, the guy who was sitting down with him face to face believed he was being serious. And so I had no reason to believe Robert Pattinson was lying. And so I got really pissed because I was embarrassed because I'm like, I'm the one defending Robert Pattinson getting cast in this. And how he's come out, he goes, he's not even taking this seriously enough to work out because he's saying, no, I don't work out for it and blah, blah. Now, it turns out he was joking and that's great. But a few days ago, there was a report and let me see if I can find this here.
There's also there's been a picture of him in Batman where he's topless.
Well, yeah, now we have it.
You know, he's beefy. I mean, the thing is, look, what people don't understand is that's in his contract. If you take on the role of Batman, you're contractually obligated to work out. I mean, that's part of it's built into your deal because you have to look the part. And I think any actor worth their salt knows what they're getting into. You think after everybody else who's played the role of Batman, that Christian Bale looking the way he is, you think an actor wants to like be unfavorably compared to an actor that previously played that role?
Right.
Because
this is Pattinson's fault.
I know.
If you're going to say it and say it so convincingly that even the guy sitting with you believed it, so I went off like, Pattinson,
I remember,
you asshole! Like, you've been given this role, take it seriously, blah blah blah. So I couldn't help but feel a couple of days ago on January 19th, when Variety puts out this story and Robert Pattinson saying the headline is, Robert Pattinson, joking about not working out for the Batman really came back to haunt me. And I couldn't help but wonder if that had something to do with me. I could not help but wonder if maybe that had a little something. But look, he was joking. I'm so happy just to be back on the Robert Pattinson train. I'm so excited for him as Batman. I still think from day one he was the right choice to do this. But when I saw this headline, look, obviously I'm way overestimating my own importance here. I'm totally way overestimating my own importance. But when I read that headline, yeah, joking about not working out really came back to haunt me. I'm like, I wonder if that has anything to do with me. Don't know. Maybe yes, maybe no. All right, next up. We got Kevin Cower writes, excited for Halo, but video game effects is weird. Excited for Halo, but video game effects is weird. I'm not quite sure what you mean by that, Kevin.
Maybe they think the special effects look a little video gamey.
Maybe. I was frankly kind of impressed by it, but we'll see when we get to it.
I was too.
Yeah, we'll see when we get to
It
it in
worked for
context.
the universe.
Though.
Yeah, you got to see it in context.
Dennis, okay, I'm going to try my best here, Dennis. Dennis Asvolinsky writes, or Volinsky writes, I think the hardest casting decision for the MCU will be Logan, since Hugh Jackman was so iconic. Do you have anybody in mind on who should play him? I never do X actor and X role guessings. Don't care. All you need to do is get a good actor, because here's the thing. Some people are too young to remember. But when they cast Hugh Jackman as Wolverine, everybody hated it.
Well, one, they didn't know who he was.
Yeah, well, first of all, he's a no-name. Second, when they look into him at all, he's a Broadway song and dance guy, because that's what he was.
And he's over 6 feet tall.
And the big thing, he was like 6'1", 6'2", whatever he was. And everybody hated it. Everybody hated it. But we did not know the script. And we did not know what this character was going to be like on screen. And had we, hindsight, we would all know that Hugh Jackman's perfect for it. And now, despite the fact that everybody hated it, can anybody imagine? Like, Henry, can you, Henry, imagine anybody other than Hugh Jackman playing what? Nobody now can imagine anybody else other than him. So here's the thing. They're going to announce a new Logan, and then everybody's going to hate it. And then we'll actually see this person play Logan, and then we'll get a sense about whether they were truly the right
Well, I
person.
mean, John, think about it. People hated Heath Ledger.
Yep.
People hated Michael Keaton.
Yep.
People hated Ben Affleck.
Yep.
People hated Hugh Jackman.
Yep.
People have hated everybody.
Yeah.
It's just like it's Q fanboy outrage. And look, I'm a fanboy. And I've often thought, like, what I don't understand is why people object to these things, because they spend a long time contemplating these decisions. And I usually try and trust filmmakers in this, and they've so far always been right, with maybe one exception that I won't mention, but everybody knows, and it's in the MCU.
That's why at the end of the day, all I care about is it a talented performer they cast? And if they cast a talented performer, I'm okay. We'll see how it works out. Mm-hmm. But you're right. That is going to be the tricky one. Getting the new Logan is going to be tricky, and it's going to be key, and it's going to be important, because it's going to be a guy they're going to hope will play this role for the next 10 to 15 years.
But also lesser so Magneto, Professor X.
They're all important. Yeah.
I know.
All right. Let's see. Next up here, we've got, who was that? That was Dennis. Thanks for writing that in, Dennis. Kevin Joyce writes in, to your earlier discussions and points following Moonfall, suspending one's disbelief isn't the same as forgiving a film for inconsistent internal logic. But see, that's the thing. Suspension of disbelief is separate from logic consistency. Here's what I mean by that. I am okay. I will believe that a blonde-haired guy from a planet called Asgard with a magical hammer, I will buy into that. All I ask a movie is, that's suspension of disbelief. But whatever rules of this world are that you're creating on screen for me, all I ask is that you be consistent with your own rules. That's all I ask. Come up with the most ridiculous stuff in the world, suspension of disbelief. Be consistent with the laws of reality that you are creating in your own movie. That's on you. That's on the filmmakers. And so I completely agree with you, Kevin, on that. There is a difference with that. Now, in Moonfall, they break both of those rules. Number one, they just do some things in it that are way too much for us to just suspend disbelief over.
Yeah.
And then, like, here's the thing. I'm referring to a clip that's in the trailer, so I'm not even giving anything away as a spoiler. This is a clip in the trailer. You guys have all seen this clip in the trailer where big parts of the earth are pulling up from the earth and the ground is breaking apart and a car is driving and it jumps to one of the big pieces that are floating up in the air so it can keep going, right? Guess what? If gravity was pulling things up in the air the car would be pulled up in the air. That is a matter of, okay, I'll suspend my disbelief that this is all happening, but by your own internal logic of the movie, that car should be flying up into space right now, like with the pieces of the Earth that are flying up. So it was asking us to suspend disbelief way too much, and then it was violating its own logic it was setting up.
I have to agree with you entirely. And what really bothered me about Moonfall is the big ask that the moon can go out of orbit or the moon's going to fall on the Earth. I'll suspend my disbelief for that. But every single scene in Moonfall does something that is completely, John brought up a scene, and that's an obvious scene they show in the trailer. But something that I can't stand is they need to get a space shuttle in the movie. You see that there's a space shuttle in the movie, and they have to move it from where it is to where they're going to launch it. And they just breeze right by it like nobody's going to care how you get this thing. But they show in the movie that it's being taken on a truck. And we lived through that here in LA. They brought the space shuttle through city streets, and it took days. And so if there's something really bad happening and then they breeze over that, every single scene in Moonfall, every scene is full of stuff that you're going, come on.
And by the way, I never knew that you could launch a space shuttle with 4 people.
Yeah.
I had no idea.
Also,
4 people to launch a space shuttle.
where they drove the space shuttle through, it looked like it'd been wrecked by like the water and all that stuff.
Yeah.
How are those buildings still up or whatever? I don't know.
This is the problem between great fantasy cinema. Look, there's no sound in space, but in Star Wars, you never think twice about it because it's called Star Wars.
And you got to have this TIE fighter sound.
Yeah, and you're like, it never bothers you. But a movie like Moonfall is so inconsistent during every scene that it flies off into oblivion, and you can't buy any of it.
So yeah,
I didn't believe
go see Moonfall, baby.
Go see. By the way, I wanted to point this out. One of our viewers, Alton Wang. I lost it here a second ago. Alton Wang said, "Yeah, F physics. I've got family." A little bit of Fast and Furious in there for you. Okay, we keep going here. Gary,
but that was the same problem, though.
Yeah, it was.
With Fast 9. You can't, from the opening scene, I'm like, I don't believe this.
Yep, absolutely. Gary Buck writes, just watch Two Towers again. That sounds like a good day, my friend.
Whoa!
Just watch Two Towers again. My lord, the scene when Gandalf and the army charge down the mountain like there's something from the book of Revelation. Is there a movie scene that feels spiritual to you? Oh, a lot. I think we've talked a lot on this show about various scenes in movies that are just, and look, I know I joke about it all the time, but honestly, truly, and seriously, best of the best. Eric Roberts, James Earl Jones, Chris Penn, the end when Dahan, broken and beaten, limps across the aisle with his gold medal, and he takes off his medal and he puts it on Tommy. And he says, I deeply regret the loss of your brother, and I offer myself as your brother. I mean, I'm not going to go off on my regular rant on this, but it is one of in the most ridiculous movie, it is one of my favorite movie moments ever. I offer myself as your brother. I'm like, oh, come on. That is like one of the ultimate man grr moments. Grr! Like, there's just, but yeah, and there are many of those in Lord of the Rings too. Do you got a particular scene that's like practically spiritual for you when you think about it?
No, I mean, like you said, I don't know one particular scene. There's so many scenes that I really love. But the whole movie's, it's kind of a cop-out to say, but I'm thinking of so many. But they're not the obvious ones. I don't know. Not. All
right, let's move on here. Next up, we got Sempaigar who writes, some minor gripes with the Halo trailer, but I'm still very excited for it. Hope they just use the Halo score for the show.
Oh, yes.
Cover song didn't fit. I thought the music in the trailer was a perfect fit.
I thought it was very cool.
But I don't know if you saw it, but
it's in the air tonight, right? Wasn't it it's Phil Collins?
Yeah. It was like a remix of that.
Yeah.
But there was a little bit later during the game, they had a Paramount Plus commercial where they had all the different characters and stars from various Paramount Plus things sitting around a campfire, but they've got that Halo.
I love that.
That was a good commercial.
Even the NFL players.
That was a good commercial.
The marketing is coming.
Dude, nothing was better than that Top Gun commercial with Kansas City. Did you see that? It wasn't Kansas City when Tom Cruise came out, was talking about the game. It was It was a Top Gun Maverick commercial.
Not
but
this week.
Was it last week?
I didn't see it at all.
I didn't see that at all either.
It's a Top Gun commercial where Tom Cruise comes out and introduces the two teams. And I want to say it was the Bengals.
Titans?
I think it was.
I had no idea. I did not see this. I must have missed it.
We got to look it up after.
All right. Let's keep going here.
Maybe it wasn't Bengals. It was.
Next up, we got Purple Haze 4564 who writes, John, I'm confused. On Spider-Man No Way Home, at the end when Strange casts a spell, did it wipe the mind for those in space like Nick Fury or other realms like Thor? Magic. I mean, everywhere. Again, which points out the absurdity of the end credit when a part of the symbiote gets left behind. It's like, magic gets it. Oh, but magic forgot to take all of the symbiote away. I mean, that was really dumb. That was, when you really think about it, that was really stupid. But my guess is throughout all of reality. That's my guess.
Yeah, me too.
I don't know. They'll have to explain it more, but that is my guess, Purple Haze. So maybe you agree, maybe you don't. All right, Andy writes, I didn't know Rob has a Saturn Award. That's all fine and dandy. But does he have a Kids' Choice Award? That's where it's really at. Rob, the question everybody knows, you got that shiny Saturn Award, but do you have a Kids' Choice Award?
I don't.
But
I aspire to one day win
maybe
one.
Dota will be it. Maybe you'll get the Kids' Choice Award for Dota.
It's R-rated, so it's,
Well, whatever. It is kids. They're dumb. All right, next up. Chloe Reed writes, did John just say kids are dumb? Kids are dumb. All right, I lost my spot here. It was Gary, Purple Haze, Andy. Chloe, there we go. Loki, Doctor Strange, Thor, or Black Panther? Who has the best musical theme? Black Panther. I'm going to go Black. And maybe I wouldn't have felt that way had it not been for that concert. We actually got to hear the musicians playing it live, but I'm going to go with Black Panther.
It's an incredible score.
Is he talking about the main theme? Just
for the character? Yeah.
Yeah, I don't.
Like I'm all about that. And that's my guess, Andy. What do you guys think? What's your favorite out of them? Cole, oh no, that was Cole Reed. Next up, we got King Tantic writes, 1 of 4. Well, guys, last Wednesday, I also had an early screening of Moonfall. I was surprised when the Optimus Prime narration started at the beginning, leading into the actual title, Transformers Dark of the Moonfall. And then they revealed that the moon is Unicron. Oh my gosh. And then when Mark Wahlberg and Shia LaBeouf returned, I was floored. Best movie ever made, 10 out of 10. But in all seriousness, when the movie ending, I started laughing. I don't know if I liked it or not. It was so bonkers that I legitimately cannot tell. Also, my name is from the last name being King and my favorite movie being Titanic, thus King Tantic. Well, there you go. Listen, I don't want to give away any. I don't even know if Moonfall. I don't know if anything would even constitute a spoiler for Moonfall, but I mean, I don't want to give away spoilers, but
just make up a spoiler. That's what Moonfall did. Try to make up a movie.
King Tantic just made up a much better movie than the one we saw.
I know. I would actually want to see that.
Yeah, that movie I'll see.
Although I will say this. There is kind of a similarity between Moonfall and Transformers Dark of the Moon.
Yes, there is.
There is.
I mean, they both talk about Apollo 11. There's stuff going on there.
Some influence in there.
There's alien technology on the moon.
I mean, so you might be onto something there, King Tantic. I like, again, you just King Tantic in 45 seconds just entertained me more than Moonfall did.
By the way, I have to say, once again, I'm just going to profess my undying love for Transformers 3 Dark of the Moon. Love it.
I still don't like.
Love it.
I wish I could like all the Transformers. I just didn't like that one.
1 and 3, baby. 1 and 3.
All right. Our buddy Kevin Rubio writes in, Rob and I, but in the bid. Let me try this again. Rob and I, but in the bid to do the Indiana Jones DVD Blu-ray trilogy. Back in 2005. Okay, is he saying that you and him bid?
Yeah,
you put in a bid. Okay,
we put in we tried to get the job.
So he probably meant instead of Rob and I, but he probably meant Rob and I put. Okay, so Rob and I put in the bid to do the Indiana Jones DVD Blu-ray trilogy back in 2005. Had we would have had Spielberg's commentary. That's if Spielberg would have done it.
It was a proposal. That's right. If you would have done it.
So you actually got to bid on that job?
We back then, yeah, because we were those are the great days of Blu-ray where you could do those things. And I was working for Paramount at the time, so it was good. You could submit those kinds of things. And we were trying to drum up work. They hadn't, they were going to do it. They talked about doing it. They hadn't yet done it. So yeah, but I wanted to do a whole G.I. Joe. I made a G.I. Joe proposal as well to do a whole history of the G.I. Joe franchise, and it went up the chain. But
I'll tell you how you could have won it. If you had proposed, we're going to do all these special features, and they're going to be narrated by Tag and Bink. For those of you who don't know, Kevin Rubio is the creator of those characters. It's the whole thing, all of it narrated by Tag and Bink.
Dude, that should be a live-action Disney Plus series. People would love it.
I think people go for it.
I mean, a comedy series within the
Hulu. Hulu is the place for them to do a Tag and Bink series.
But I would do it live action.
Yeah,
going back into all the Star Wars scenes and insert Tag and Bink into them.
I think that could work.
Great.
All right. Let's see. Next up. Thanks for writing that in, Kev. Josie Reviews writes, I watched a documentary on the guys that invested in GameStop stocks called GameStop Rise of the Players.
Oh, yeah.
And it got me thinking, do you think there's an audience for a doc on the rise and fall of MoviePass? I'll be honest with you. I love documentaries. We all know what happened with MoviePass. I wouldn't mind seeing a narrative film about it. I wouldn't mind seeing a live action movie about that whole thing, because honestly, the MoviePass, it's not just a cautionary tale. The whole thing with MoviePass is filled with underhandedness and corruption and public manipulation, and it's all surrounding the whole idea of not just the movie business, but movie fans and manipulating movie fans. There is so much intrigue in there. I would love to see a movie on it.
It would really depend on the people themselves, the characters that it's based on. Whereas like the new We Work documentary that's coming out with Jared Leto, the character's this charismatic, crazy Russian dude. I mean, I just think that the thing about MoviePass was it was just a bad idea hatched in a boardroom. It was never thought through because it could have been a good idea.
All right, next up, we've got Al Renshaw writes in, now I know how to please Chef Pleasures. That's what everybody always wants to know. How does one please Chef Pleasures? He gave, of course, a good step-by-step roadmap on that earlier. Josie Reviews also writes, also check out the After Party on Apple TV. It's a lot of fun. I'll tell you what, have you started watching this yet? The After Party on Apple TV Plus?
No, I have not. I don't even know what it is.
It's kind of a whodunit comedy. It's got, I keep forgetting his real name, John Ralphio, who does the voice of Sonic. I keep forgetting his real, but he's not the main guy, but he's in it. Anne started watching Ben Schwartz, thank you.
Yeah, there you go.
Anne started watching it. So I sat down and watched one episode with her. It's pretty good.
All right.
The commercials were funny.
I never even saw a single commercial, but I watched one episode and I'm like, okay, all I would say is this. The one scene I walked in on, this guy, there's a high school reunion and this guy decides it's time for me to tell this woman that I've always loved since high school how I really feel, right? So he decides he's going to do it in a karaoke song, because at the big party, there's a karaoke. I'm going to get up and do it. But the karaoke person puts on the wrong song. And there's really filthy rap song. I won't quote it. My neck, my back, my right? So he starts when I first started watching it, when I walked in the room, that scene's on, and this guy's trying to rap it, but also be family friendly. He goes, my neck, my back, I like my pancakes in a stack. And I'm like, okay, I don't know what you're watching, honey, but I got to sit down and watch this with you because this is pretty funny. And it looks really good. So yes, do check it out. I'm liking what I've seen so far. All right. Dacky Woods writes, have you heard of Corridor Digital's Corridor Digital's D&D show, Son of a Dungeon? It's only available on their website. Never heard of it.
Me neither.
It is funny though, with so many years. And by the way, somebody brought up Fanboys. Our boy Kyle Newman, huge D&D guy.
Didn't he write the D&D cookbook or something?
He did 2 different D&D books. He did a complete history of the art of D&D, and then he did this big recipes from D&D.
Yeah.
Right? It's sitting on my kitchen counter.
I was wondering why that was there. I was like, Why is there a D&D book in your kitchen? What is
That's what you're going to
It's
start
recipes.
on. One recipe at a time,
It's
right?
recipes like all influenced and inspired by Dungeons
All
and
right,
Dragons.
well, that's it, guys. Thanks for joining the John Campea Show.
And Anne's made a couple of them. They're great. So Kyle
I'm gonna
wrote
check
this
that
book.
out.
He gave it to me as a gift. But it's funny because D&D was kind of like subculture for a long time. And then people like Kyle, by the way, Joe Manganiello, who runs the world's most famous Dungeons and Dragons game, Kyle plays in his game.
Oh.
Kyle plays, and so guys like Kyle and Joe Manganiello, Joe who wrote the foreword on Kyle's D&D book, guys like this, and they play with Sam Witwer as well, are kind of part of the thing, along with guys like the Vox Machina guys and whatever. They've made it kind of mainstream again to play D&D and stuff like that, which I'm very, very grateful for. But so I'm not surprised other people got D&D stuff, but I'm not familiar with Corridor's thing. I'll keep my eyes open for it though, Dacky. Thanks for putting that up there. All right. Adhi Ravis. Forgive me, man. I'm going to try my best. Ravis Henkar. Hope I got that right, Adi. Writes, I know that there is confusion on this, but if true, hats off to Brady. He truly is the GOAT. Yeah, I'm still waiting for Brady to officially announce he's retiring. I'm hoping he gives us one more season. One more season. That's all I want, Brady.
You greedy son of a bitch.
You can't just pop your retirement. You got to let us prepare for this. Give us like a year for it, dude.
Oh, like a farewell tour, like
Yes.
like Kobe did.
Yeah, just let
Where
us
like
know
this is my
our
last year.
Yes.
Whatever happens, happens.
Yes.
Everyone take pictures. Whatever.
Yeah, let us
you know
know
what?
this is your
That's
last
fine,
year.
as long as he doesn't get hurt, because that would be terrible.
Yeah. Oh,
that would
yeah,
be
for sure.
completely terrible.
Because he had his leg snapped before. He missed that one season because he got his leg snapped. So anyway,
I think we'll know, one way or another.
I agree. All right, Scott D writes, the Donnie Darko director's commentary with Kevin Smith interviewing Richard Kelly unfortunately made me like the movie less, had me question his choices. I've never heard this particular director's commentary.
First of all, there's a great 4K box set that Arrow put out, both of the Blu-ray and the 4K.
And is this particular director's commentary on that?
Yeah, it is. And I don't know if it made me like the movie less, but I think that a movie like Donnie Darko has a lot more. Leave it ambiguous and let people bring their own meaning to it. I think so.
Got it. All right, next up. Sam Fisher writes, I saw Being the Ricardos. I really enjoyed it, but I didn't love it like I thought I would. Sorkin's writing wasn't as snappy as, say, in Molly's Game. Yeah, I didn't think Being the Ricardos was quite as good as Molly's Game, but I thought they were both awesome. Like Molly's Game, I love that movie.
Loved it.
Granted, I'm a poker guy, so maybe a little bit more, but honestly, I thought the movie was fantastic. I really love Being the Ricardos. I thought it was great. J.K. Simmons is like at his absolute best in
All
this
those
thing.
actors in that were so good.
I mean, Javier Bardem was so good in it. I mean, all of them were so great. I loved it a lot. But I agree, Sam. I still prefer Molly's Game a little bit more, but I think they're both great. Sam also writes, apparently the ship part of Mando had the Jawas find... Let me try this again. Apparently, the ship part Mando had... The Jawas find is the same part that Han, Luke, and Leia and Chewie used to hold open the trash compactor in Episode 4. I have no idea what he's talking about, to be honest with you. So,
Yeah, I'm not. Yeah.
Interesting. If that's true, that's interesting. Sam also writes, I wouldn't give Bryce Dallas Howard a movie yet because while she is a great TV director, I don't know how she'll do with script writing and 100% creative control. Here's the thing, Sam. Directors don't write the scripts. Sometimes they do.
So yeah, there are writer-directors do. Yeah.
Sometimes they do. But 99% of directors do not have 100% creative control of their movie, nor should they, to be frank with you. They shouldn't.
Yeah.
But 99% of directors don't have 100% creative control of the movie, and 95% of directors don't write the scripts. So, listen, Kevin Feige put it best. When Kevin Feige was sitting down with me, and I asked him, why did you go for James Gunn to do Guardians of the Galaxy? He's never done anything like this before. Kevin Feige said, a good storyteller is a good storyteller. She obviously knows how to take a script and a scene and breathe great life into it. And she obviously understands Star Wars.
Plus, she's going to consult with her dad.
Yeah.
She's it's a family business.
Yeah.
And she's been both an actress like her father and, well, he was an actor, but she an actor, and having that kind of background and being able to consult with someone like her father, I think she's a fine choice.
Yeah.
to do a film.
And again, you're worrying about the wrong things there, Sam. I mean, she probably would not write the script, and 99% of directors don't, nor should they have 100% full creative control over the movies. That's not what they're there for.
It's collaborative art.
It's a collaborative art. All right, next up. Sam also writes, Denzel and Francis's acting in Tragedy of Macbeth was just stupid and unfair. Everyone else was kind of weak by comparison, except Hawkins and Gleason. I thought everybody in the movie is fantastic, but I remember when I came out of Tragedy of Macbeth, the bad thing about Tragedy of Macbeth is that pretty okay acting that you think is fine, you realize is absolute garbage. When you see Denzel Washington and Frances McDormand, two of the GOATs, at the peak of their powers, you watch this and you're like, that right there is what real acting looks like.
Oh, yeah.
And then you realize a lot of the other stuff that I thought is pretty okay acting is not okay. This is the standard. And it's like, oh my God, they are so good. McDormand as Lady Macbeth is unbelievable. I mean, it's an acting clinic they put on this. It's like some of the best acting I've seen. Oh, it's so good. And seeing them do it together on screen is crazy. All right. Martindale McLymont writes, 1 and 2. Hey, fellas. Good to see you guys. Good to see you too, Martindale. What are your thoughts on Keaton's Batman being de-aged when we see him first? Could be why they teased him from the back. Could be possible that the Flash doesn't only travel to another universe, but back in time also. You know what? That is something we've talked about this before, about when we see Michael Keaton's Batman, is he going to be in his 70s like Michael Keaton is right now? Are they going to say he's like 60s and just say, or are they going to de-age him? I think both you and I thought they wouldn't go the de-aging route. I think we're going to see him as he is, and
now,
I don't think that,
more like a Batman Forever. I mean, Batman Beyond.
Batman. I see. Well, I don't think we're going to see the old man with a cane.
Well, no, but I mean more of an older.
Yeah, I think we're going to see more like a Dark Knight Returns kind of Batman.
Yes.
So, I mean, I have heard no legitimate information about whether they will or won't. But if I had to put $1 on it, I'm guessing they're not going to digitally de-age him. They're going to work with him as an older Batman. How do you see it, Rob?
I think so too. Absolutely.
All right. Next up, we've got
unless you have a flashback scene or something.
Yeah, that would be different. Sam Fisher also writes, I worry that if Master Chief never takes his helmet off, Halo will get compared to Mandalorian, and not in a good way, especially if the series is bad. I don't think anybody's going to confuse Mandalorian from that. Listen, it's not the first one to do it. We obviously there was Judge Dredd as well. I don't think there's going to be any comparisons with the Mandalorian, just because the two different characters wear a helmet.
Agreed.
I don't think there's any danger of that. So we don't have to worry about that one, Sam. And our final one today comes to us from Jordan Saylor, who just sends in a $10 super chat to be supportive and everything. Thank you so much for that.
Thank you, Jordan
Saylor. And that'll do it for today's installment of the John Campea Show. Thank you, everybody, for being here and being a part of this show. Big special thank you to all you guys who sent in those questions. Number one, because you gave us great fun things to talk about. Number two, you supported our channel as you did it. And all of us involved here at the John Campea Show, thank you guys so very much for your support. Also, guys, don't forget, we now have the mailbag show for the questions. The ones we used to also do in the show, we now do as a separate show called Mailbag. If you want to get in one for your show to be on the air during Mailbag, which we are going to do an episode of Mailbag today, send in your questions to streamelements.com/movieblogtv/tip. You'll be getting those commoner questions read on Mailbag if we deem your questions appropriate for our show. And thank you for everybody who's already started sending those questions in. I noticed that a whole bunch of people have been sending them even during the show. So first episode of Mailbag's a little bit later today. I want to thank, sitting right over here, Saturn Award winning, Kids Choice Award hopeful, Robert Meyer Burnett. Robert, where can people follow you online?
You can find me on Instagram at Robert Meyer Burnett, or RMB, whatever it is. You can find me on Twitter at Burnett RM, or find me on my own YouTube channel, The Burnett Work.
And of course, Ray Aura with his Cincinnati Bengals going to the Super Bowl and a Halo show all coming out. This is like your week, man.
My week.
Where can people follow you?
My week. Ray Aura with a 0.
Don't forget, of course, Chris Carr will be back tomorrow after her and Logan get finished with their move stuff today. You can follow me simply on social media, just at John Campea. But for now, guys, that'll do it for us. My name's John Campea, and until next time, my friends, bye-bye.